Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. Welcome on in. It is a new season in the Friday division of the Nitro Realistic Racing League. I am your commentator for tonight. My name is David, and I am going to be taking you through for as much of Season 2 as I can. Of course, I will be moving at some point, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to be able to bring you the full season for this time around. But either way, I'll bring you as much as I can. And, well, tonight we start in the Middle East. It is Bahrain, and we're following it up with a trip to Italy. We're going to the Temple of Speed, then the British home of motorsport for round 3, followed by the narrow and twisty but iconic circuit of Monaco. Then the halfway point being marked at Circuit de Catalunya in Spain, and then it's off back to the Middle East in Saudi Arabia, the Jeddah circuit, followed by a trip to Europe in Baku, Azerbaijan. Then we're off to Japan, the Suzuka circuit, and then Hungaroring, and the finale in the iconic Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Here's how these season's drivers line up for the Season 2 on Fridays. It is in the McLaren's Matt Tudor and Big Bruiser, followed by the Ferrari being filled by Meldrum and Paul Codd. Hash and Chocky fill out the Red Bull seats as Jabe Jameson and complete rookie Kevin Baker in the other Mercedes seat, at least for the Friday division. Kick, She Loves JP is in the Aston Martin with F1 Mikey Boy, who is being filled in by Michela tonight, who of course recently took the F2 title here in the league. Then the Alpines of I Have No Grip and Matt Connor fill those seats, with Haas being filled by Dinosaur and another debut for a full season. It is Traps, and of course we've already seen Harry, and we know Josh already in the Racing Bulls, but Harry making his season debut tonight. Dan Lovett and Rendog moving from Mercedes to Williams, and Kick Sauber with the ultra-quick MCL, and of course Den Bliss as well, who showed promising pace throughout the final 2 rounds last season. Now, we were scheduled to get away at about 8 p.m, but it looks like we are just delayed slightly. Sorry, David, for Mikey Boy and Michela are... okay. For Mikey Boy and Michela are the Dave... Let's see, it's me star. Okay, I am gonna try... For Mikey Boy and Michela are the same person. Oh, okay. I wondered what code you were speaking in. So Michela is F1 Mikey Boy. Gotcha. Thank you very much for letting me know. Name change, good sir. I see. Thank you very much for letting me know either way. At least I was made aware of that. Yeah, usually I'm very much nice to hear about that. So that would mean F1 Mikey Boy has been indeed with us before. And, well, took the F2 title, if I'm not mistaken, if my sources are correct. Well, here we go. The ready-ups are now beginning. We have 17 drivers for tonight. And let's see what happens. So, of course, we will begin the countdown to the 18-minute qualifying session. And, of course, you all know the drill. It is a 100% full race distance. So, an hour and a half at most... well, at the very least, of Grand Prix action coming your way. 15 seconds to go till we're in qualifying. So let's talk a bit about the track. 15 turns at a length of around 5.4 kilometers, which rounds out to about 3.3 miles. The lap record held around here is lap record is a 1:31.447. It is a race lap record, I must add, and that was by none other than Pedro de la Rosa in the MP420 back in 2005, if you can believe that. Yeah, so that is a pretty old record, if you don't mind my saying so. As now, I just need to correct the volume mixing for F125. That did sound quite loud. So if you are experiencing any audio level issues there, do please let me know. Or if you need to turn it up or turn it down. Of course, we're not going to be in qualifying just yet, so... let's just give it a moment, shall we? But otherwise, opened in 2004, and it came with 5 layouts, and only two of them only used for Formula 1. The circuit actually wasn't fully complete, and in case you didn't know, some of the higher-ups in the FIA were actually hoping for the event to be cancelled just so the circuit could have another year of prep, but Bernie Ecclestone apparently rejected these requests, and the race went ahead with a mostly complete circuit, but it was good enough to race on. And then, of course, for the next year in 2005, everything went ahead at 100%. And it was the first circuit to be awarded the FIA Institute Center of Excellence award, if you want to gather what that means. But the circuit has also hosted races for the World Endurance Championship V8 Supercars, which of course just had the Bathurst 1000. Apparently it was a classic, but I am yet to watch it. And then of course the support races from F2 and Formula 3 and the Porsche Cup Series, to name a few. As Mr. Traps himself has said hello in the chat, of course, making his debut here in the Friday League races. Now, if you could just give me a bit of clarity on the audio, that would be nice. I think that does need to be turned up just a little bit. So this is probably going to be a bit of volume mixing here. I just upgraded to Windows 11, so that's part of the problem. Let's just see if that's all right. If you can let me know, that should be all right. But either way, let's bring up some deltas and see where everyone is at, of course. Let's see. So F1 Mikey Boy, also known as Michela, with the name change. It's good, Mr. Trap says. Okay, well then I believe him. With no other verification required on that one, as there is a Williams in front of him, which of course this will be either Rendog or Dan Lovett, but Dan Lovett in the pits. So this is Dan Lovett's car. Sorry, this is Rendog's car actually going side by side with Aston Martin on the outlap of qualifying. So this really shouldn't go any further, but you don't want to be doing that when the car's on their flying lap for obvious reasons, because you do get penalised for impeding cars during their outlap. But of course, I do also need to let you know that Matt Connor and this very car that we're looking at are actually serving qualifying bans. So they are doing their outlap, and then they will retire in the pits. So this will be the last we see of F1 Mikey Boy. So it should be, if all things have stayed as they are, Rendog the first to set a lap. But then there's a Red Bull ahead somewhere. That is Hash. It's going to come across the line, but then there's also a Haas ahead, and there's Mr. Traps there, as he is now starting his flying lap. He'll be the first to take the 617 drivers tonight on an outlap, so on a flying lap, beg your pardon. So now he approaches turn 1, slows it right down all the way into second gear. Usually you have to upshift to avoid wheel spin. I looked a little slow there off the exit, but we'll see how that goes. Just judging his steering inputs, it looks like he's on a controller, but then again, I might be corrected in a few moments' time. And going through turn 4 now, it looks like he's just not quite got the car dialed in just yet. It looks like he's got a bit more speed to give going through the corners. Sounds like he's upshifting rather early here. But at the moment, we'll see what the lap time comes around to, as Bruiser has finally joined us, so it will be an 18-car field as soon as he is in. And yeah, through the challenging turns of 9s and 10 there. Just looked a bit wide there, as there we go. F1 Mikey Boy having a retirement, serving his qualifying ban. Matt Connor will do the same in a few moments' time. He will do an outlap and then go on to retire. He's probably just getting his setup ready. As you can see there, how much steering input Mr. Traps is having to use there. That's not really optimal. It could be due to being on a controller, though, as well, and just trying to get that all dialed in with the car itself. But, of course, we'll wait and see. He will be the first to set a lap, and, of course, he's only got one turn to go. He'll open the DRS for a brief few moments before crossing the start-finish line. Here we go. Final corner for the Haas driver, Mr. Traps. There's the DRS zone. That DRS will open up, and that is a 1:30.4. Let's see how that compares. Of course, one of the drivers I was really hoping for more from last season was I have no grip. He came away with only one podium, but was oftentimes in the hunt for the championship. As there we go, Matt Connor also retires from the session. So the two there serving a qualifying ban. So it will be 16 cars thanks to Big Bruiser's involvement. And then Bliss there with a time of a 1:29.0 there. As there we go, he goes right to the top right away. And of course, Den Bliss showing really good form, joining in from, I think it was round 5, I think it was, or round 6. I think it was the same as MCL there, as I have no grip with a 1:35.9. So he's just on a bit of a warm-up lap. We'll take this lap to now set the flyer. I would imagine there's a Ferrari, by the way, who was facing the wrong way, and that is Meldrum. What has happened to Meldrum here? He looked like he was stuck in neutral. It looked like he was just trying to get that engine fired up, and it just wasn't happening, as there's MCL just passing him right now. Of course, Den Bliss, of course, just went to the top of the time, so that makes the most sense. But I do think the Kick Saubers have a good chance here at taking the Constructors title. Of course, MCL probably not going to be happy with being put in the Kick Sauber, but it is realistic performance, so of course the slowest car is delegated to the fastest drivers, and MCL not too far off at all. That's just under half a second away from his teammate. It just sounds like to me that the audio is just a bit quiet, in my humble opinion, and I think it's showing that there on the level. So let's just bump that up quite a bit and take it from there. But otherwise, sorry for the messing around here. I just want to make sure we get the audio levels a-okay. Yeah, that sounds a bit better, to be honest with you. I'm on controller. I thought so. I thought so, Traps. I could tell by your heavy steering inputs. But anyway, let's have a look at the world champion at the moment from Season 1 going into Season 2, hoping to make it 2 in a row, and that is 3rd place, and that's not a bad start if I say so myself. That's 1 foot in. Usually the first qualifying is really where you measure your progress, and that's not too far off at all. But it is early doors in qualifying. We've only had 6 minutes of the session, but this is already looking good from the British driver up into 4th place, as I have no grip then, up into 2nd place also. So there you go, found 6 seconds on that time, clearly using that as a warm-up lap, and he is a half a tenth just over behind Dembliss. So Dembliss feeling a bit of pressure, and MCL may be feeling like he's a bit behind the times as of right now. He is currently 6th place, but there's still a long way to go. We still have over 10 minutes, and we've only had 6 minutes of this session. He'll be just dialing things in. And the times, thanks to Track Evolution as well, will get faster. Of course, if you are new to F1 League Racing and you've just tuned in, well, first and foremost, thank you for choosing the Nitro Realistic Racing League as your home for the first ever league race you want to watch. And if you're just getting into all this, what do I mean by Track Evolution? Well, think of it like an F1 weekend where the track begins to rubber in over the weekend. It's a very similar thing to that, and so over the qualifying session, the times will get faster, and I think we should be within the 1:27s by the end of this. Maybe even high 26s for the fastest time, but of course, my predictions can be a bit far out, as now Matt Tudor is coming to the line. We saw him around and about the season, as he decides to visit his alien overlords, but then stays right down to earth, as he will now begin his flying lap in the McLaren, and we'll see what he can do in the British car. Doesn't have DRS open here, so has he forgotten that he's got DRS down that start-finish straight? Well, that will be a few tenths lost there already. And Matt Tudor with a lot of work to do as he has left the session. A disconnect there. So not only, unfortunately, he's decided that he wants to visit his alien overlords in outer space. So he will try and find his way back down to Earth in the nearest escape pod that has taken him on a UFO. But anyway, let's go back to affairs on planet Earth on the track in Bahrain. Sherry Rudberg there. Looked like he was on a flyer there, but has had to back out because there's a car coming out behind him. And at the moment, bit quiet out on track as of right now. And at the moment, Dembliss is the one leading the way. But also Hash there with a bit of a surprise. He's higher up the field than I thought he would be. And he's currently in 3rd place. So maybe the Red Bull and him just get along that little bit better. We'll wait and see, though, as somebody giving me a very nice compliment, Danny, there in the chat. Thank you very much. And I think you're like the 5th Danny I've ever met, or the 6th Danny now. So, great. I know a lot of Dannys, and now I've got you in my list, so welcome on in. So here we go. Hash is going to start his flying lap in just a few moments' time. Rounds the 3.3 mile circuit, and we'll see if he can get up to pole. Hash here is proving to be a bit of a surprise here, as what a difference a season makes, what a difference a week makes. He was only with us last week, and let's go on board with the Red Bull driver. Can he turn into the Max Verstappen of NRRL and maybe provide us with a shock? He was not in my predictions for this season. I'll go through those in just a few moments' time. But on board, we are going through turns 1 and 2. That might not have been the best exit from 1, but I think he just about made up for it in 2. And turn 3 is not all that complicated. Turn number 4 there, you can see how much momentum compared to when we were on board with Traps that Hash can take. So something's really gelling for him. Traps with a lot of work to do. Currently down in 11th place, and I think this could be ahead. Who's ahead on the fly, but that could also go to Dinosaur also. So we'll see who's where and where, but at the moment, Hash is the one with our attention, causing a bit of a surprise in qualifying. Where has this pace come from? As Dembliss has also started to fly. He's just approaching turn 1 now. One of the drivers going slow just to allow lap traffic through, or to not impede anybody in qualifying. And now through turn number 11. That Red Bull is getting awfully close to the Haas, but both are on a flyer, and this could go wrong, and it has! Oh, an overtaking. You don't want to be doing that on a flyer. Why is the Haas fighting? Why has there been contact? This is silly. No, you don't want to be doing that in qualifying. Haas backs out of his lap. Who was that? It was Mr. Traps. Oh, dearie me. You do not want to be doing that, and well, I would have to say that maybe both were a little at fault there for fighting that so hard. Going through that section of corners, one just needed to back out, I would have to say. That shouldn't really be happening in qualifying, but anyway, as of right now, we're going to continue on, because Dan Bliss is currently on a flying lap, just going through the very section we just saw Hash and Mr. Traps basically come together with one another, impeding both their laps. So here we go, Den Bliss on a personal best, and he's actually beating the pole time. Now, of course, with any other driver, the delta on the top right only compares to the driver's personal best within the session, not the overall session best, but Den Bliss being the exception to the rule because his personal best is the session best. Across the line now, that is a 128.9, so he's the first driver to get into the 128s. But I thought that would be a little better there, considering how far into the session we are. Harry, who made his debut last week, is currently in 9th and not on a flyer, so he's not doing too bad. But otherwise, we are still waiting for 3 drivers to set a lap, and really, there's no time like the present. I don't really see what's going on. Of course, Matt Tudor did have a disconnect and is now back to planet Earth, so he found the escape pod in his UFO that he was kidnapped in, and he is right back with us. For FFS, I was 5 tenths up. Oh, Mr. Traps coming into the chat, not happy with how the Red Bull approached him. And, well, 5 tenths up, and it's going to mean nothing at all because his time has been eradicated by the chasing Red Bull. So Mr. Traps not happy. We're looking at Paul Codd at the moment, trying to set a time better than a 1:31, 1:83, only by a 1/10 and a half. He does that, but still 13th place, and Paul Codd usually the slowest of the lot when it comes to his paces. Then Bliss has found the wrong way at turn number 11 there, so that's not a good start. Just a bit too much throttle there on the exits. Only an in-lap, buddy. You don't really need to be pushing that hard. But anyway, he's gone and decided to say, oh, well, I'm just going to test the limits of my car. But, of course, those tyres will be worn out. Thanks to pushing so hard on that lap as well. So not the best if you want to use those tyres in the race, although I don't think anybody really touches their qualifying tyres, let alone the soft tyres in any race, unless you really want to be on the 2-stop. And, well, to be fair, this is a 100% race, so the 2-stop will be required, maybe a 3-stop, but of course it will depend which one is fastest. But at the moment, it's all quiet out on track. Dan Bliss coming off an invalidation and just, well, a spin, to be honest with you. And he'll be into the pits now. And, well, will get himself ready for the final few moments. Oh, hello! Dan Bliss, my IRL friend. Bro is cooking. Dan Bliss, yeah, because he always cooks before he crashes. Hello, Quincy. Welcome to the stream. And it was... Yes, we just did see a spin there from... I didn't even see it, but it always happens. Well, to be fair, right? In Las Vegas last week, he took a rather brilliant win. I mean, don't get me wrong. Some of that was influenced through track limit penalties. But Dan Bliss finally got his interview. And, well, he did a very good job last week out in Las Vegas back in Season 1. And let's see if that can... continue into Season 2 as we have I Have No Grip. It just fell off. I really thought I Have No Grip was going to be a contender for last season, and I just wonder if he can find the motivation for this season to actually be higher up. Just to give you an idea, he only had 1 podium in round 4, but was often very quick in qualifying. But it just never, like, you know, transpired in the race. Like, you know, I think you have to take into example, I think it was Suzuka at the time. He actually qualified top 5, and he just fell down the order. He went down to 8th, and that's just kind of how his season went. Now, don't get me wrong, round 4, he broke that curse, but in the end, he just couldn't keep it consistent, so I Have No Grip with a point to prove, and needs to find the grip in this Alpine. Oh, goodness me, and that's a big moment off of turn 1. That's a few tenths there already, and has he abandoned that lap? Let's have a listen to the engine note in the Alpine. I think he's going to continue going through turn 4. He goes. I don't think he's pushing. Yes, he's 2.5 seconds down. He's abandoned that lap. And, well, guess what? Shoei Rudberg has just got up to second place in the Racing Bulls. And that is a great lap. Debuted with us last week in Las Vegas, but on the finale of Season 1, and it looks like it's coming together. But here we go. One that's been frequent in the chat tonight is Mr. Traps. He's just on a flying lap now, but we also have flying laps coming in from Matt Tudor and Bruiser. They are on the same piece of track, so let's go back to the other Haas driver as his teammate Dinosaur is on an outlap right now. We've got to see what Mr. Traps can do and take it from there. Now, one I was particularly looking forward to seeing tonight was one of the Mercedes cars, Kevin Baker, who was debuting with us. Great driver, needs work on consistency. Have to agree. Yeah, but the first few laps he crashed into the wall after getting pole. Oh, yes, he did. But he recovered it. He recovered it, Quincy. That's the important thing. That's the important thing. He recovered it and still took the win. Remember that. Anyway, Mr. Traps at the moment 7/10 up in Sector 2 on his own personal best. Remember, the session delta at the top right compares to the overall... no, not the overall session best, the driver's personal best. But at the moment, he is not going to be on pole based on this pace. And guess what? A lot of drivers also out on final flying laps. And there are some on out laps. They've waited till the very last minute. Hash here across the line with a 1:29.8. 1:09. But what can the two McLarens do at the back as Matt Tudor again is being teleported to Mars, it would seem, deciding if he needs to visit his alien overlords for some inspiration. His teammate Bruiser just came across the line, 1:33.444. His Matt Tudor beats that with 1:32.4 there, so just under a second. As Meldrum hasn't made his way out the pits either, but I want to see what Hash is up to. 2.5 tenths up in Sector 2. What is the lap time going to be? That's pole position! Oh my goodness me, where has that come from? Hash there is so far fastest in qualifying. There is a few minutes to go. Well, there's only 1 minute to go, so Hash won't get another lap. But where has that pace come from? Wow! Incredible stuff. I think I Have No Grip will be next across the line, but I think he's actually gone and done it wrong somewhere. He's slowed right down. Is he going to try and go for another lap at the end of this one? He might be doing so, but we'll keep an eye elsewhere on the track. Of course, Chucky was also across the line very early on. In that, very early on, but this is his last flying lap, and he's coming to the line now at rate of knots. Final corner for the Red Bull driver. His teammate has got into pole, but what can Chucky do from 8th to 4th? That is a 1:29.0. There is nothing to separate them at all. And Harry now, I think, is going to be one of the next across the line, but it's going to be actually one of the Hasses. That's Dinosaur there, also improving. Mr. Traps won't have time, but Dinosaur has invalidated, so it doesn't matter. As now Mr. Traps, yeah, it's just going to allow the McLaren through. But who will be next across the line? I think now it will be Harry. Oh, wait, no, it's going to be his teammate, Shoei, but Shoei's already done a lap, so that doesn't matter too much. And Hash here, I think, is on a lap, but Harry... Can he improve from 9th place here? He was on a 1:29.6. It's going to be from 9th place, a 1:29.4, and he will not move. It is just a personal best improvement as Rendog is going very slowly indeed. I don't know what's happened to him, but now the Alpine of I Have No Grip, is it? No, it's not I Have No Grip. I think it's somebody else there. Or was it even an Alpine to begin with? I'm no longer sure. I can't be sure of myself. JP next across the line from 8th place. 1:22. 2nd place. He can't quite beat the pole time. Neither could Den Bliss or MCL. But it's either Chucky, who is actually on a slow lap, or I Have No Grip. I Have No Grip is flying into the final turn now. There's a spun round Red Bull somewhere in that frame. There he is. But now, I Have No Grip. Can he go 7 against pole at the death? A 1:28.7. I Have No Grip brings the grip to Bahrain. And that is all said and done. I Have No Grip is your pole sitter in Bahrain. And it will be the first one of the season as Rendog now into the pits. A lackluster qualifying from him. Well finished runner-up to his teammate previously in the previous season. And that look is looking like it's run out. And Dan Lovett as well. A 1:29.2. But... saying that, though, between the top 8, it's just under half a second. That is nothing in the grand scheme of things. That is absolutely nothing. That is amazing. Well done, admin, says Quincy. And also, look at the top 10. Just over a second, Mr. Traps on for a good result, as is Rendog. But then outside of that, you're looking at Dinosaur, Paul Codd, Matt Tudor, and Bruiser, who are just a bit off the pace there. But if, let's say Dinosaur and Rendog could hang on to Mr. Traps DRS, if that is how it turns out at the start-finish line, there we go. They could be in for a chance as well, depending on pit strategies. But a great lap from I Have No Grip, redeeming himself from last season. He is on pole position in this first round of Season 2 in the Friday 100% division. as Mr. Trap references to what I did similar to when No Grip came across the line, I Have No Grip has grip. Your official qualifying results coming out of that qualifying session. I Have No Grip on pole, Hash in second, third is JP, then fourth and fifth respectively is Den Bliss and MCL, followed by 6th to 10th, Sherry Rudberg, Chucky, Dan, Harry, and Mr. Traps. Then from 11th to 15th is Rendog, Dinosaur, Paul Codd, Matt Tudor, and Bruiser, followed by 16th to 18th, and all serving qualifying bans, well, 2 of them are, Mikey and Matt Connor, and Meldrum, not setting a time. He will start in last position, 18th. We will be underway in a few minutes' time, but otherwise we'll see when we get back underway. By the way, just a reminder as well, Sherry Rudberg will not be scoring as he is a reserve. But everyone being told to ready up. I just need to see what time we'll be underway again, unless if somebody can let me know in the chat. We go at 20:29, so we will see you back here in a few minutes' time, and then we'll be having a 100% race coming your way. Don't go anywhere. More action to come here in Bahrain. We should be underway at any moment. We're not going to have a formation lap. We will be straight into the race. But welcome back. There will be a full distance Grand Prix coming your way, as of course it suggests. I think it's about, 52 laps here in Bahrain. I'll have to just double check that. Yeah, no, we'll confirm that in a few moments' time. But obviously, still waiting for players to just ready up. And here we go. We'll find out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. A new season begins, and it's a good start there from I Have No Grip, and 57 laps to come. There might have been some contact already as She Loves JP already up into second, 3 wide for the lead. JP to the lead of the race. What a start from the Aston Martin driver. That is great stuff there, and I Have No Grip drops down the order as we're so used to seeing him do. Oh, goodness me. Not a good start at all. Let's see the tyre allocations, and, well, we do see the soft tires 3 wide into turn 4. Goodness me. This is awful from I Have No Grip. He's just got nothing to battle with, and already down to 6, and JP to the lead of the race, as we've already said. But both Kick Saubers, biggest winners in all of this, their team up into 3rd and 4th respectively, and there's more battling happening in the background there. There's the Haas of Dinosaur going right, Mr. Traps up into 8th place, and there's all of a sudden fighting between Matt Connor, the reserve, and the Racing Bulls of Sherry Rudberg, who of course isn't scoring any points tonight, as we've said already. Dinosaur and Mikey Boy going side by side down this straight here, and there is a lot of action happening. 2 Ferraris side by side in the background as well. There's a McLaren of Bruiser who's spun round at turn 10, and there's the Aston Martin of Mikey Boy carving his way through the field round the outside there on lap 1. Brave stuff from the Aston. And they're still going to go side by side as Mikey Boy up into 11th place here. What a great start this has been. Already season 2 promising to be something very special just based on this opening lap alone. And now JP is going all the way to the defensive. He's not afraid to get scrappy when he feels he needs to, as now the both Kick Saubers side by side, but then the Red Bull is under pressure. Hash, who had a great qualifying and is now, well, was nearly going to be overtaken, but no dice there for anybody. DRS is now activated, so JP will be under pressure, but Dead Bliss with a great run off of turn 3. It's going to go down the inside at turn 4, but those soft tyres at this part of the stint should be okay, as there's been a swap here between Chucky and Traps here, as there's a bit of side-by-side action happening here. Is this involving I Have No Grip? No, I Have No Grip. It's just ahead there, but then Dan Lovett to the inside from 8th to 5th right now. Tries to go past MCL, but no dice there, and somehow we need to find a way to take a breath. But then Mikey Boy and Mr. Traps going side by side, and Mikey Boy with a move of the century going down the outside of those 2 turns is an epic feat in of itself. And now can Dinosaur get past Matt Connor? No, but I think that Aston Martin is going defensive on the Haas here. The Haas found the exit speed on the comeback on lap 2. And at the moment now, it looks like there's been another caution in sector 2, short-lived, so we continue racing for the time being. But now our attention turns to the battle for the lead, because there is a few things happening up ahead. Well, there's a few things happening here because the DRS will be activated on the longest straight of the circuit. So here we go. Let's go on board with the Red Bull of Hash, surprising everybody with a qualifying in second. Both the soft tyres for the top 2, but look who can't get close enough as now MCL. Look at the Red Bull there under pressure from MCL. The Red Bull is forced wide, and now the Dead Bliss just trying to get a good exit. Dan Lovett not too far away from this. Many swaps happening. Chucky and Mikey are going side by side for 8th place, but now the battle for the 2nd place is about to change maybe, but no, the Kick Saubers are going to go side by side again on the exit of the corner, but nowhere to go. As, as we just saw, I think Mikey Boy and Chucky swap positions, and now F1 Mikey Boy serving his qualifying ban as, oh, Dan Lovett, the championship contender, or the championship winner from last season, makes contact and loses part of his front wing. And surely this will be a great time for I Have No Grip to actually get past the Williams. Thanks to that loss in aerodynamic performance, but nowhere to go as of right now. But Dan Lovett, after a not-so-strong qualifying, but a strong start, is now facing an uphill battle for the rest of the race. Only somehow lost 1 position in all of that. That was only to Harry, who's now in this top 5, and Den Bliss has been left behind by the top 3, but because he is on those medium tyres, the top 3 are on soft, so the crossover point will be happening very soon, and I would say probably sooner rather than later, as the 2 Haas drivers go side by side here in turn number 13, but down to turn 14, I think that is Dinosaur through on his teammate, and now 1.5 seconds to the Alpine of Matt Connor in front. Now Haas will be vulnerable, as now the two drivers here will swap. Both have DRS though, but MCL wins that straight line speed battle as Harry now is also coming back, but the Red Bull is now coming right back at the kick. A bit of contact between the two as we exit turn 1, and then through turns 2 and 3. It's all fair and square for the time being, but JP enjoying this, has led every single lap of this Grand Prix, although it's only been 4 or so laps. But Dan Bliss will not be happy. He's been overtaken by the Racing Bulls of Harry, as the Rendog is the first driver to get a track limits penalty, as the Haas drivers going side by side yet again. Mr. Traps this time through on his teammate, and this is not helping them catch up to the field here, as Matt Connor is now checked out by 2.5 seconds, and Dinosaur is gonna fight with his teammate. No team orders here at the American team, and now we're probably seeing a scrap that the team don't want to see, but this is epic stuff all the same, side by side, and that's Dinosaur off the track. Trap saying, you do not do that to me so easily. And now, who's got DRS? That will be missed. Oh, but there's some spin there in the background as well. There's all sorts of action happening. Side-by-side action between Mikey Boy and Dan. Bit of contact at the front left there for Dan, as now things begin to sort themselves out. And that's Dan Lovett down to 6th, or, well, down to 7th, beg your pardon. Mikey Boy up into 6th. This is great drive from him so far, coming all the way from the back, up 10 positions so far, as now Dinosaur, Mr. Traps, Deuce battling yet again. The two Haas drivers making the Haas team very nervous, as Bruiser has made another mistake here. As well, can MCL finally take away the lead to the Grand Prix from JP? We're cutting all over the place on the track because there's so much battling to see. Mr. Traps does in the end get back past his teammate, but 4.6 seconds to Matt Connor there. That battle just simply refuses to end. We've had 5 laps of this already, and it's been non-stop action from the get-go. From the moment we started, it all kicked off indeed, as Shoei Rudberg is also through on the other Haas, so there is a bit of breathing space between the two cars, but for how long will that last? Well, I don't know at the moment, but it's certainly been a Grand Prix to remember so far. Let's see if we can go through your biggest winners and losers. And well, Rendog down 6 positions at the start there. What tyre is he on? He's on the hard tyres, so he got swallowed up by the entire field so quickly. And already Dan's teammate not performing well is now Den Bliss, who got a good win after crashing it on lap 1. Oh my goodness me! And there we go, another mistake from Den Bliss allows Mikey Boy through. Has a bit of a snap, trying to get back onto the track, and surely now can I Have No Grip take advantage of that mistake now? Not close enough to do so. That will be a source of frustration for the Alpine driver. There's been another swap at the background here as a McLaren and a Ferrari do battle, and there's another Ferrari in the background. That's Meldrum going wide there at turn number 11. Now coming here through turn 13. No change there for now, but DRS is about to be activated for the top 3, or at least 2 of them anyway, because the second and third had DRS. Well, we're underneath a second to the cars in front at the detection point, and then they could use it through the activation point. Where do you look at this battle? There's so much side-by-side action. It's just hard to digest it all. That is Chucky up to 8th place, as I Have No Grip has just dropped down the order like a stone to water. Not able to go anywhere with the pace he showed in qualifying. And even his teammate has got past there, Matt Connor, who of course served a qualifying ban, now up 8 positions, as Dinosaur gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And I think he was trying to do battle there with the Racing Bulls driver, and is still trying to find a line to see if he can get through, but no dice there for the time being. JP has been caught by MCL. Is the Kickstarter going to try and have a move here? And surely that those mediums for Harry are beginning to come into effect. But then Mikey Boy as well, his pace coming into effect also. He'll be putting JP under some pressure. And JP, remember, doesn't mind getting scrappy, as I said a few laps ago. He will be just thinking on how to keep the lead, especially down the long start-finish stretch. But of course, you've got to remember there's a detection point approaching turn 1, so it's not necessarily the end of the world if you lose your position going into turn 1, and that's something that the second place driver will have to think about also, because JP does love to overtake when he loses that position. And here we go, he's going into defensive mode now. He's getting ready. We're seeing Mikey Boy potentially make a move, or even potentially seeing Hash make a move, but he's not close enough to do so. But look at this, Harry is actually closer to his sister teammate. Of course, the Racing Bulls and Red Bulls, both sister teams. And now look at this, 3 wide on the exit of turn 1. There's contact between the sister teams, and the Red Bull is spun round. Hash from second to 7th, make that 8th, as MCL couldn't find a way through. And now, I Have No Grip has finally made a position from a mistake. But Hash is now down to 10th, and the sister teams will be furious with one another. This is not how they would have wanted that to have gone. And it is becoming a rather feisty affair for round 1 of Season 2. A bit of hard racing. I think that was just a racing incident. There was really no room there, and the racing line does go towards the apex of turn number 2 there. So you kind of do have to cut it to take the best line. So I think that will be judged a racing incident. But again, I'm not a steward. I'm just a commentator. So I'm not really sure at the same time. But of course, JP, look at this. Permanent driver, after being reserved for the final 3 races, got a podium in Las Vegas. And is now taking that momentum on from last week and trying to turn it into a win. Well, he's led all 7 laps of this Grand Prix so far, and he's about to lead the 8th lap as we approach that now at the start-finish line. But MCL hot on the Aston Martin's heels, proving that there is pace in that Kick Sauber if you just put the right driver in and get the right setup. And JP will, of course, cut all the way to the right-hand side of the track, trying to defend as Meldrum gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations, but 20 seconds to Bruiser. It matters very little. MCL thought about a move down the inside, but then remembered probably remembered the DRS detection point being just before the entry of turn 1. And here we go again. Can MCL finally make a move? He doesn't look like he's close enough, and JP is covered for yet another lap. Both Aston Martins, to be honest with you, running 1st and 4th. And of course, Tempest and Chucky are now having a battle as they've been left behind on medium tyres. I'm surprised at the degradation rate here. The soft tyres are lasting a lot longer than I initially thought. And it almost looks like to me that the softs could go longer than we thought. But here we go, battle again as Harry continues to hold on to 3rd place. Looks like there was a bit of a mistake there, and Dan Lovett, despite his damage to the front wing earlier on, is still within this. And there's, of course, the rest of the train at the back of your frame. As I think we're about to see something here, but we have a caution in Sector 2. A Ferrari has spun round. That's Paul Codd, so we'll continue as we were. But can Sherry Rudberg make a move here? Yes, he can. It's going to be round the outside, though. This is going to be brave stuff, but will he have to do the over-under? Mr. Traps with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Well, a forced mistake there, but Sherry Rudberg showing great racecraft there. As now there we go. The 2 teammates are going to do battle again, but we need to go back to the lead of the race because we need to see what's going to happen here. Harry is now starting to get those medium strikers. Paul Codd has crashed. Crash for Paul Codd. And does this deploy a VSC? It indeed does. So, well, we were robbed of that. Unfortunately, going into turn 1, but Paul Codd crashing it on the exit of turn 11 has brought out a VSC, but nothing more as he leaves the session in utter frustration. And now on lap 9 out of 57, we have our first interruption of tonight's proceedings. And now what were 18 will become 17. But JP leading every lap of this Grand Prix. And well, he's got at least half a lap or so in the bag as it's Meldrum first into the pits there, onto soft tyres himself. And I think like anybody on the medium tyres, apart from Harry seems to have made this work in the best possible way. I think I was pretty surprised that JP is able to hang on for as long as he did, and MCL as well, to hang on to that 2nd place with all the pressure from the Racing Bulls from behind there. So we're going to already be on lap 10, if you can believe that. Nearly a 5th of the race done, as now drive-through penalty for Meldrum for speeding under VSC. And there has been a swap already between Racing Bulls and the Hasses there. As, oh my goodness me, wait a minute, we're about to see some battling, and there's contact! MCL and Harry come together at turn 11, and Mikey Boy's like, please let me through, but no way through. In fact, there's more than one drive-through. There are 4 drive-throughs from 13th to 16th, and that means they will all have to serve that within a space of 3 laps, as now the 2 Haas drivers going back into battling here. It's only for 11th place. This only guarantees you 5 points. Will Paul ever finish 100% race? Find out next time in the NRRL Chronicles. And of course, because it was only VSC, DRS is activated right back. Here we go. Into turn 1 we go. And Dan Lovett is going to make a move with a damaged front wing. Was he? No, he wasn't quite close enough there. The camera playing its usual dirty tricks on me. And, well, here we go. MCL's actually much closer this time around, but doesn't get the exit that he needs on JP as Den Bliss and Dan Lovett go side by side here. Who's going to win out on this battle? Bit of contact between the two. Rendog with a 10-second penalty and retires from the race. And that will mean that no intervention is required from race control. We will keep going uninterrupted. But there's also a missing front wing end plate from Den Bliss. So Dan and Den Bliss with the same disadvantage, and maybe that's why the pace has fallen off so much from the Kick Sauber, while his teammate is thriving in that car. But now, with Rendog retiring, what was 17 now becomes 16. Meldrum just exiting the pits right now. As here we go, MCL down the inside. Here we go. It's the leading reign of JP ending. No, because he's getting scrappy, as we've seen him do so many times last season. And now, well, it's given Harry a chance here. Down the inside. Oh, they're going to make contact. Not quite. Lap 10 out of 57, and everybody's fighting like it's the last race for the championship here. And, well, this is only setting the precedent for the championship. We're not actually deciding anything tonight, guys. But either way, I'm not complaining. It's been great action, but Harry up to second. Can he now get a run on JP as Den Bliss and Dan Lovett are now going side by side as well? There's Matt Connor getting involved in all of this as well. 3 wide down the start-finish straight. Will Den Bliss get ahead of Dan Lovett? No, but they're very close to making contact. They almost touch wheels. Put into turn 1. The Red Bull behind makes contact, a little bit of contact with the kicks, well, with the Williams in front of him, beg your pardon. And now, Mikey Boy finally gets a run for 3rd place on those worn soft tyres on MCL, but he's going to fight that round the outside, but through turn 4, no way you're going to get that outside run unless you've got the best tyres in shape. And for the Kick Sauber, they are past their best by far and away. And now that is the Kick Sauber down to 4th, but Mikey Boy from basically last to 3rd place, and it is 16th place to be more precise, as Dinosaur now in the pits. So he's just covering off Meldrum onto a 2nd set of soft tyres. I don't know what the strategy is, because this is all over the place, but this is looking more like a NASCAR race rather than a Formula 1 race, as I think that's Matt Connor now up into 6th place on Dan Lovett at last. I thought he'd already done that, but evidently not. Maybe Dan Lovett was trying to fight that back through the corner of turn 10. This is the most drive-throughs I've ever seen. I know, right? That was, especially with the 4 in a row there on the timing tower. But let's get back to this, because Matt Connor is starting to carve his way into the top 5 here. He's only got Den Bliss to go, and of course Den Bliss with a bit of an aerodynamic disadvantage here. He's missing an end plate on the left-hand side of the car, and so he's not got the best cornering grip, so that will go to the Alpine. But I think Harry is going to poise himself for a move here, as now MCL looking to undercut the field in front. Let's go back and say, oh, here we go, 3 wide, down the end to turn 1, maybe, as now Matt Connor is going to be under pressure here. He's got 1 car to the right, 1 car to the left. Here I am, stuck in the middle with these, and Jockey has kept it there. Brave stuff there, but also JP fighting back down the inside for the lead of this race after Harry took it away from him. They're going to nearly touch wheels again, and, well, JP has to slot him behind, but he will be back. Harry cannot lay his chickens all in one basket at this current moment in time. Or lay his eggs in one basket is the actual saying. But either way, JP will get scrappy again, and his teammate behind, he doesn't care that his teammate is on a mission from God. He is currently gonna just fight for his own race. No team orders in this league, of course, as now JP will be deploying his battery. Look at how close he gets to the Racing Bulls into the next turn. Can he get that to work? JP fights right back, but with the fresher tyres of the Racing Bulls, surely he's gonna have the advantage, but no, not even through there, up the hill. And 2nd place, well, Harry goes back down, and there's a bit of contact between the two, and now Mikey Boy is getting involved with this, and they're gonna make it a 3-wide battle. And now that is Mikey Boy to the lead of the race, but for how long? 2nd place is not decided yet. The Racing Bulls nearly goes into the back of the Aston, and he has to go from the lead of the race from 1 corner to 3rd place. And now That is Mikey Boy into the pits, and Harry is going to continue fighting Chucky with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. But with both having DRS there, they are even each other out as now Bliss is overtaken for 4th place there. So that's him down to 5th. But with Chucky's post-race penalty, that might not matter. Mikey hoping to get the undercut on the drivers in front like MCL was. So keep an eye on MCL. But this battle is enthralling us at the moment. And that is a mistake from no! Big crash at turn number 4. And that is a 10-second penalty for Bliss for severe contact with I have no grip. And I don't know if he was really at fault there. I don't think he was really at fault because Bliss was the one who made the error, and I have no grip just still took the corner and had time to react. In my opinion, just seeing that in real time. But here we go. That is Mikey Boy through on MCL, and that was one to keep an eye on, as I just said, because remember, MCL was also aiming for the undercut, and it hasn't quite worked. But anyway, goodness me, there's been a non-stop action since since the start of the race. Everywhere you've looked, there's been some kind of battling. But Hash is also on the, he's going to need to make a pit stop soon, but he's on the back of Bliss as we speak. And Bliss will not be happy because now his first pit stop will have a 10 seconds added onto it thanks to that penalty, and now he needs a safety car. I thought we would see one there, but Bliss pushes the Red Bull through the corner, and that is more damage to the car. He can't continue with that. That is an entire side of the front wing on the left, on the left-hand side gone, but now the lead is going to change places again as Bliss gets back through on Hash, but he's not going to have any aerodynamic performance. Dan Lovett now into the pits, but these two going side by side. Goodness me, this is excellent stuff, and there's Matt Connor from last to first place. He is nearly there, has only got 2 cars to get through. This is incredible. Lap 14, and this battle for the lead rages on. And Hash also has just made his way past Bliss, but Bliss fighting back. I don't know how he's doing that with half of his wing missing, essentially. But there we go. The aerodynamic performance through that next corner is lost, and now it should be Hash beginning to check out from this. And Hash is going long, but can he undercut in time? Remember, he's got MCL and Mikey Boy to worry about, and those two have actually been battling quite a bit. Because remember, last time we saw it, Mikey Boy was ahead, but now Mikey Boy is behind the Kick Sauber. So the Kick Sauber may be trying to do JP an unintentional favor, and it's not a JP anymore, it is now Harry. But remember, JP is getting scrappy. He is showing his characteristics from last season. He is not redefining his personality even in a full-time seat. He is showing what he is made of, and he is not censoring himself for anybody. Here we go. We're on to going to go to lap 15. Is anybody going to pit? JP going for the undercut. So that means Matt Connor will be next to fight for the lead if he decides to do so. Harry, Matt Connor and Chucky all on medium tyres, as well as Bliss, but also has a bit of a disadvantage there. And now, of course, thanks to that front wing damage, he's got more time to add on to his pit stop. Goodness me, this is going all sorts of wrong for Bliss. After the win last week in Las Vegas, it couldn't have gone more against him tonight, as now there you're seeing Mikey Boy swap positions, but Matt Connor there is, for the lead of the race, is still behind. As there we go, there's JP, and the undercut didn't work by much, but that might be to do with the hard tyres there as well, not quite coming into their own until about this lap usually, as MCL and Mikey Boy will begin to fight again. But JP is still there within 3rd place, and so this battle before the pit stops is going to resume again as Mikey Boy gets a penalty for track limit violations, 3 seconds post-race for him. And so that means this battle goes from JP to MCL, and I cannot wait for this. Boy, oh boy, I cannot wait for these two to get scrapping again. It is going to be some of the most exciting action here in NRRL. This Friday Night League has not disappointed on its Season 2 return, and it's only going to get more and more scrappy, as now you see our potential top 3 going to do battle for what feels like the 320th time tonight. We're only on lap 15 out of 57. Make that 16. As can Matt Connor make a move here? He was 3.5 tenths before this DRS zone, but of course he's thinking about the second DRS zone. That activation point is just on the entry to turn 1. Of course, we saw GRS Chicken in the real-life Formula 1 season back in 2022 between Leclerc and Max Verstappen, but now it is between Matt Connor and Harry, and well, Matt Connor unable to make a move at this current moment in time, and now he is just going to try and slot himself behind and maybe try again through the next DRS zone. They are both checking out from Chocky, which I think is something they would have been thinking about, as Hash now on the exit of the pits is in 8th place, has got Sherry Rudberg just behind him by about a second and a half. And he is just going to resume in 8th place, but 9 seconds behind the Aston Martin of Mikey in front. And, well, yeah, that is unfortunate for him. Well, 9.2 seconds behind MCL now, because these two are going to probably go scrapping again. And no harm in that at the moment, as long as there's no team orders. But at the moment, it's going to be a little while before we see them approach the next DRS zone. So we're going to try and see if there's going to be any change for the lead. Is there going to be any pit stops either? We'll, of course, wait and see. But keeping an eye on that battle for 5th. It looks like MCL is going to be the closest one. But no moves at all. Of course, that straight not really long enough to take any sort of advantage. And well, JP and all that battling, of course, just serving his first pit stop. We're still waiting for Harry and Matt Connor to serve theirs. And, of course, Mr. Traps will need to do the same thing, as will Chocky. So we have a caution in Sector 2 for a McLaren of Bruiser there, who loses a position to Meldrum. And I Have No Grip is all the way at the back of the field. And you're just thinking, how on earth did that happen from pole? Well, somebody's gone from first to last and has done that challenge instead. And that's the wrong challenge, No Grip. That is not the challenge people usually go for. So on lap 17 out of 57, these two are going scrapping again. But there's still no way through for Matt Connor, who, of course, started this Grand Prix in 17th place and is now running 2nd. But, of course, being on the medium tyre, and he brakes late into turn number, number 8 there. Couldn't find a way through, but gets Harry all out of shape. And he's going to try and over and under, going into 9 and 10, but nowhere to go. And he's going to try and get a better exit through turn number 10. But no, again, nowhere to go. And, well, DRS, but there's Chocky now being brought into all of this. And, well, Matt Connor there with a very brave dive going into turn number 8 there. Just couldn't quite make it work. He didn't have the traction on the exit. And now they've got to worry about a third car again coming into this battle. 8 tenths of a second. The detection point is just on the approach into turn number 14 there. Or turn 15 then, which is the little kink on the exit there. And will Chocky stay within this? Yes, he most certainly will. So now Chocky will have DRS on these two. But who think is Harry going to think about move? No. So neither car is going to try and undercut one another. And now we might see Matt Connor try for a move. He's not close enough yet though. And he's going to remain 7 tenths on the approach into turn 1. So that means he will have DRS again. So a double shot of the rear wing opening for the Alpine. It looks like those tyres might have just reached their boiling point. And maybe no good anymore. And especially with the dirty air of the car in front, that tyre wear will be really, really excessive. JP coming under pressure from his teammate for 5th position now. A lot of battles have begun to spread out. MCL is still within this DRS train. Mikey Boy trying to look to the inside of a rather quick JP, but nowhere to go. And maybe teammates just kind of saying to one another, yeah, don't worry, I'm not going to actually overtake you. I just need to make sure that I have a bit of clear air so I can keep my engine cool. Of course, if your engine does go above a certain temperature in this game, your performance does begin to slow down. And I think that will be in the minds of the drivers as well. But I want to just look at Matt Connor again, because that just got to within 2 tenths of a second. And it looks like he could be poising himself for a move. Are these 2 or 3 going on the 1 stop here? It wouldn't be very likely, to be honest with you, if the leaders could do that. But it will certainly be very interesting to see that. It would be the hard tyres on the final stint. Look at how close Matt Connor is coming into 14 on the approach. Bit of contact between the two. Nothing too bad there, but this means Chucky is going to be within 0.7 of a second on the exit of the corner. But who is going to win out in this battle for the straight line speed as we start with lap 19 out of 57? To the inside goes the Alpine, but to the outside goes Harry, who has the DRS there through the detection point. Harry doesn't give that up just yet. Bit of afters between the two, but nothing unfair. And it is going to be the RB even, with the DRS again. And the RB goes defensive right away. He's straightly under pressure, and the battle for the lead is going to turn again. But to who? Is it the Alpine? It is. It's going to be Matt Connor taking the lead of this Grand Prix, as JP also made a move in the background in all of that for 4th place. 135 degrees centigrade, I believe, for ending too hot. Thank you, Quincy. But yeah, engine too hot there is 135 degrees Celsius. And, well, we want to avoid those temperatures. But now Harry gone down to 2nd place right away. But a great fight between the two regardless. And now there's going to be an even better fight between Traps and Mikey Boy. But it looked like there, Traps just let him through at the earliest possible opportunity. And now Mikey Boy has lost DRS to his teammate. But there's MCL as well. Let's not count him out. Of course, once those three pit up ahead, he'll be right there with them. The ass of Traps there fighting back through turn 11. Gives him the room, but now MCL will have the momentum on the exit of the corner and the fresher tyres for the Kick Sauber driver. He's really the only one within this race win, unless if a safety car is to happen at any point. And I do believe since a certain race from last season, the safety cars were put down to reduced. Can't think what race that was. I don't really remember it. And maybe I didn't even commentate it, but in the top 3, it is Chucky to the pits, and now it's the Racing Bulls who goes from the outside to the inside. A bit of contact between the two, and I think Harry had the DRS when they went in to the first turn, as now, well, JP is up to 3rd, and yes, Harry timed that overtake perfectly, and that means he'll hold on to the lead of the race. So we swap again on lap 20 out of 57. And this has been one of the more crazy races here, but it's been one of the most entertaining in NRRL history. I'm sure there have been more around the other divisions in the other days, but for one of my own personal favourites, this has to take the cake. And there is still another half of the race to go. And then, of course, after this, we have the sprint qualifying in Austin, Texas at about 10:30 p.m. BST. Well, yeah, no, I'm sure everybody will go their separate ways to enjoy that. But otherwise, we're currently focusing on affairs here in Bahrain. This is going to be, it's good to say reduced safety cars, but we loved Canada last season. Oh, yes. Oh, that was the race. Oh, yeah. I don't remember. I think I just had a cup of tea and just enjoyed that race from a spectating point of view. No, definitely not. It looked so frustrating, but amazing to watch. It was certainly one of the more it was certainly a race that sticks out like a sore thumb in my commentating career, let's put it that way. But anyway, enough about that. Harry into the pits now is going to try and undercut Matt Connor as he now completes, going from 17th to 1st there. And now, well, one Alpine has all the luck in the world. The other Alpine has had none of the luck in the world. I have no grip from pole position down to 15th. Is on a massive recovery race as JP now goes up into 2nd place. So he will have the lead of this race once the Alpine ahead makes his pit stop. And as long as there are those safety cars, Hash is also making his way up into 5th place there. How far back is he from MCL? That's about 6.8 seconds. As also Mr. Traps into the pit lane for his first stop and is onto medium tyres. And medium tyres going a length of about 21 laps. Well, according to Matt Connor, but 20 laps according to the rest. As MCL is still right on the back of Mikey Boy here, has not really been able to gain ground to his teammates. So I'm just wondering now where the battles are as we go through into this quiet middle part of the Grand Prix. I just wonder if it will be one of those crazy 3rd stint races, or we have a safety car to really bring things together, and that would be a source of frustration for Matt Connor and JP alike, because JP has really done well to check out on this gap. Now, I will be honest here, in my predictions for the season, I did have JP in my outside predictions, but I might need to reconsider that, because JP has been absolutely excellent. He's held off He held on to the lead for the first few laps of the race, so only giving that up because of a pit stop and also with pressure coming from Harry and, of course, the guys on the medium tyre just coming into their own. And then, also, it's just carved his way through the field rather patiently. It doesn't look like he's done anything too aggressive from the times I've been looking at him. So what a drive this has been from JP, but also let's give credit to the ones coming up, carving their way up the field as well. Let's come back to that in just a second because JP might be having a chasing kick Sauber, but never mind. MCL with a uncharacteristic mistake of a 3-second penalty for track limit violations there, and that is very, very rare to see from MCL. That is a once-in-a-lifetime thing, and now he is going to be serving that post-race, of course, with the 3-second penalties. Just as a reminder, can't serve those in a pit lane. You've got to serve those at the end of the race. So usually, it is best to not really get any at all. But of course, if you are going to get some, you may as well just get 1 or 2, and then just call it good. And of course, I think if there was as Harry is disconnected from the session, so now his car will begin to ghost. And, well, he's going to continue out on track, so that's how we know it wasn't a rage quit. But at the moment now, as MCL is now serving his track limits penalties, as I Have No Grip takes the fastest lap at 1:32.5. He is now in a genuine race with F1 Mikey Boy for what is at the moment 3rd position. But Hash there also on the fresher tyres is overcutting the drivers in front, and is hoping to try and get himself back. Now, if he does get within the 3-second window for both drivers, he doesn't necessarily need to worry about overtaking them. But of course, that is one different thing if they decide to appeal it. Halfway point is a few laps away, and we're going to see MCL try and make a move. Harry finally joins back, and you know what? That's not a lot of time lost compared, as MCL up into 3rd place. And can he put JP under pressure? That Aston Martin behind of Mikey Boy has a bit of a moment, but gets himself all gathered up because he's got DRS and goes right back in front of the kick Sauber. And will resume 3rd place for the time being. And really, I think he's just giving a buffer to his teammate as Harry is disconnected again. Comes right back in, and there's Dan Lovett up to 7th position. Of course, the current World Championship driver. Now, just to remind you as well, I Have No Grip is actually on for points as of right now. So the points-paying positions are from 1st to 15th, with 1st to 6th being 25, 20, 18, 15, 12, and 10. And then, obviously, from 7th to 15th, it is 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So everybody in the top 15 is guaranteed points. So let's say if somebody else has a retirement, Bruiser, doing nothing at all, is guaranteed at least a point for his team. And Matt Tudor as well could actually bring some points. But also there are plenty of penalties up ahead of him who would gain a position to Dinosaur, but then that would be about it if things stay as they are right now, which I promise you they won't. As now the 2 Racing Bulls swap because of Harry's disconnection again. And unfortunately, now it's just going a bit quiet. So now we need to really wait for the 2nd round of pit stops to come. I do think JP does need to make another stop. Matt Connor on 23 lap old mediums is really going long on those tyres. And will that be a great trick there as MCL making his way back past Mikey Boy? But can he hold that position into the 2nd DRS zone? If Kick Sauber could just be a little more patient. I Have No Grip goes past. And, well, there you go. The Aston Martin also goes back past, speaking of overtakes. But I Have No Grip up into 4th place. And 14th place, beg your pardon. It is MCL down to 4th place. And Mikey up into 3rd. So at the moment, you're looking at all of this and just thinking, well, the thing's going to kick off again at any point. And I do believe they will. And Matt Connor will be one to look out for. Remember, still qualified 17th with a qualifying ban, and Meldrum, for some reason, not going out in qualifying and just decided to stay in the pit lane. Hasn't really benefited him at all. He's down in 15th, just lost that position to I Have No Grip. So I don't quite know what was going on there. I don't know if he had some sort of technical problem, which meant that he couldn't take part in qualifying. But otherwise, it's really not done him any favours at all. As now, well, there's a bunch of battling now happening. Mr. Traps there around the outside of Harry. Of course, thanks to that disconnect from the Racing Bulls, is still not back with us. And he's losing time and more time the longer he leaves it to try and rejoin the session. And, well, here we go again, as Den Bliss there wasn't able to take any sort of overtaking action due to Mr. Traps having DRS to the ghosted car of Harry in front. So both of these up to 9th and 10th respectively, but surely Den Bliss, in being the faster of the two, as of right now, is about to make a move, and maybe before the final corner, round the outside, and Den Bliss is going to try it, and he gets the move done, but the Haas has remained just about there. And as of right now, the Haas will just come right back. And, well, at the detection point, he was the one behind. So that means he has DRS. And Den Bliss timing that overtake not to the best of his advantage. And he is now down into 10th place here. Of course, Den Bliss was looking very good throughout the season last week. But when it's come to the Kick Sauber, he has not shown that pace. And now, also, there is another battle developing because Matt Connor is coming under pressure from JP. Will Matt Connor fight this as hard as he's fought, or as hard as JP fought for the lead? Because Matt Connor has not come across the path of JP as of right now. And, well, JP will be very happy with this. And he was even speaking to him last season when he got onto the podium. He was saying that he could go for this championship this season. I am feeling really confident that I can do it. And at the moment, this first race alone, seemingly, he's about on pace to really bring a championship fight. But Matt Connor denies himself a battle, and he doesn't even give JP DRS. Matt Connor into the pits, and what will be interesting to see is his tyre choice. Let's have a look at his pit stop. As Mikey Boy goes through and MCL goes through, so their overcuts are complete for the time being. But now, advantage Matt Connor. He's onto the hard compound of tyres. And is he able to go to the end? It's going to be a bit nip and tuck there, as now he's losing more positions to the likes of Chocky, Dan Lovett, and Sherry Rudberg there is actually at the back of your frame. That's the lapped car of either Bruiser or Matt Tudor, as Meldrum gets a 10-second penalty for track limit violations, corner cutting, I should say, as Harry has just joined right back with us, and he is down to 11th with 11 seconds to Den Bliss, who is still on the back of Mr. Traps. He just cannot find a way through as of right now, and with 32 laps to go, what can he do? You know, if you're genuinely stuck behind that Haas and that he's on your pace, where can you go? Usually you try it under DRS or something, but it just hasn't quite come together for the Kick Sauber. I just wonder if Den Bliss is down on straight line speed when it's come to race pace. Of course, he qualified in 4th place, so it's not like pace has escaped him all of a sudden between season 1 and 2. Just looks like when it's come to the race, he's just not quite putting it together, and is even struggling to get past the debut, as Rendog has been Meldrum, sorry, has been disqualified from the session. Meldrum is disqualified, and it must have been just too many penalties or something like that. And the game has said no thank you, as now Meldrum will finish, won't finish this race. So that means now Bruiser is guaranteed points. And of course, if any more retirements do go on to the board, he just goes higher up. So Bruiser is the epitome of don't give up, and then you never know what you can get. And he's going to get a point for the McLarens, and with Matt Tudor up there as well. As of right now, that is a total of 5 points going towards the British-based team. But here we go, Den Bliss. Can he finally make a move into turn 1? He goes to the inside to think about it, but nowhere to go. But he's going to be closer as they get into the next DRS zone. Of course, at the detection point on the entry to turn 1, Den Bliss was behind the Haas, and surely now he's going to try and make his way through, but he's low on his battery. You can see it on his steering wheel right there, but that Haas equal to the Kick Sauber in terms of braking, and Den Bliss has to remain behind the Haas driver for yet another lap. 31 laps to go, and it's a bit quiet here after a chaotic first stint. It's all kind of quieting down, and we're having to pick and choose our battles as we see fit. MCL still trying and get onto the back. Hash there is really not making any ground at all, despite being on the fresher tyres. It's not really by a whole lot, to be honest with you, as those medium tyres have probably reached that crossover point where they're no longer faster than the hard. So Hash is probably just managing his pace and waiting for the third stint to really bring the tyres into their own. And I would expect him to honestly make a pit stop within the next 10 laps. If I was Hash, I would just try and suffer with these tyres long term and then see if you're faster at the end of the stint. But at the moment, he is just having to manage the storm and just stay where he is. Of course, qualified second as the had to kick Sauber of Den Bliss there, nearly going for a spin at turn 14, but keeps it all together. And now he's going to have DRS to the Haas in front of him. Let's go on board, see if he can get close enough this time of asking. No, they seem to be on equal ground at this time. And of course, Den Bliss has used up most of his battery. I'm really surprised he's not trying to recharge it at all. Well, he recharges it through the corner, but I just wonder if he maybe just needs to take a rest from the battling. And there we go, using the battery again, and it's gone. As Belgium has now left the session. Of course, he was already disqualified. But at the moment now, it is currently advantage kick Sauber. Well, I say it's advantage kick Sauber in this battle, but he's using a lot of his battery, so needs to think about recharging it every now and then. And the Haas is just picking its moments to try and use it. And this is the only reason we've given so much focus to this battle. It's one of the closest on track at the moment. The two Aston Martins are separated by 6 seconds, as Haas has farmed his way into the 3-second window of MCL in front. So MCL really struggling now, and Haas has got that gap down 3 seconds. I don't know if there's been maybe a small mistake from the kick Sauber that we are not looking at, the teammate to Den Bliss, but otherwise, I'm really surprised at that drop-off from MCL, but it looks like he's got that all gathered up. It's now at over 3 seconds, and, well, it's increasing 10th by 10th, moment by moment. And here we go again as, oh, that was nearly into the back of the Haas there from Den Bliss, but does well to avoid the carnage, and maybe just a bit of dirty air helped him understeer out of that situation. But here we go, Den Bliss at 0.6 of a second at the DRS detection point, and I think that battery deployment strategy of his is really starting to hurt him, because he's not catching up at all. And maybe as well, there is a bit of influence, because Traps is now within DRS of the Racing Bulls of Shuri Rudberg in 8th place. And that could also be... Oh, but Mr. Traps there going very wide. I don't know if he just had a brief moment with his controller or something. Can you put the tyre sections on the screen, please? That's hello to Andy J. Price. Okay, I guess. But at the moment now, it is, of course, Matt Tudor, 11 laps, and Bruiser, 11 laps. And, well, all the rest of it. But at the moment, it is currently... Yeah, Shuri Rudberg, of course, with the oldest toast. Thank you, sir. I don't know what you wanted that for, but I am majorly suspicious. Who are you? And how do you know NRRL? But there's been a mistake from Bruiser, I think. Yep, he's in the gravel. Guaranteed points at the end of this. Regardless, but a bit of a mistake there through turn 11 on the exit. As now Mr. Traps and Den Bliss. Well, here's the 3-car battle that's been brewing up for some time. Mr. Traps on the fresher tyres of the 3, and here we go. He's going to make a move going down into turn 1. He's going to go alongside the Racing Bulls driver. This should be a slam dunk move, but oh, contact between the two, and now allows Den Bliss through, and Mr. Traps is going to cut the corner altogether, and he's nearly cut off the kick Sauber of Den Bliss. He won't be happy with that, and will Traps try and fight his way through into turn 4? Not quite, as Dan Lovett now has a 3-second penalty for track limit violations, and that brings Matt Connor into the equation as well. So all of a sudden, a bit of controversy there, nearly having a bit of a moment there, and that could have ended rather badly. But in the end, Den Bliss looking to just have the awareness to take some avoiding action, and in the end, we get away with that without much incident, but just a bit of contact between Traps and Shuri Rudberg is what caused all of that chain effects to get started. Quincy, can you find out who Andy Price is in the league? Because I'm very suspicious. I'm wondering if he's coercing with somebody. If you're still here, of course. But how? I'm just kind of looking at some of the other battles, and look at this. MCL has caught up to the back of Hash, because Hash cannot keep up with Mikey Boy in front. And at the moment, the gap is now underneath a second. But nowhere to go as Hash now on those old medium tyres will not be in the best working condition. We already have 27 laps to go. And from a strategy point of view, this is actually quite a good race so far because you've got to think Hash is the one that will be on the better tyres come the end of the Grand Prix. And you've got to think, when are you going to make your move and come into the pits? Hash is the one we're all waiting for. And that's when the next chain of pit stops will begin. Because I don't think anybody can go to the end on their tyres comfortably. Or at least be in danger of the undercut or even overcut. I don't know. It's gonna be one of those. I'm not sure where things stand. Of course, all we know is that we have a last round of pit stops to come as Demblis gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. His total is up to 6 seconds as of right now. But at the moment, this is the closest battle on track, and Matt Connor hoping to get this move done sooner rather than later. 12-lap fresher tyres for the Alpine driver, and this should really be a slam dunk move once he's got it all set up down the start finish straight. Surely then he goes and makes this move. Of course, so Matt Connor hoping to get to the end on these hard tyres. He was the last one to pit in the first round of stops, so it's looking like a 2-stop is the optimal way to go. And Hash is the one we are all waiting for to get that second round of stops underway. Of course, Dinosaur and I have no grip at the back with 3 stops there. Not the optimal strategy from those two. But here we go. Matt Connor to the inside, down the start finish straight. He gets the move done for 6th place. And he will go on the charge to Chucky in front. And this could be a really good strategy from Matt Connor, you know, because he's catching just about everybody. And he can leave Dan Lovett for dead. Going up into turn 4. No chance of Dan fighting that one back. And this is just getting better and better. But Demblis and Mr. Traps are going to do battle yet again because Traps hasn't left the kick Sauber behind here into turn 4. Can he have a go? Not quite. And now MCL is also caught to the back of Hash. But at the moment, Traps there looked like he had the better exit from Demblis. And no dice there as of right now. And MCL just not able to get close enough. Looks like he had a bit of a mistake out of turn number 10, and he's lost that 1-second bubble. But MCL, of course, was on a roll last season. He got, let's just have a look, he got into 3rd place at the end after 2 wins and 1 podium, and he only joined in from round 6, remember, so he was one of the ones with a point to prove, and he's gone and done it so far. And well, I say this, but his race tonight hasn't really been always gone to plan here, and I don't think he would have wanted to have been fighting with Hash. He would have wanted to be up there with JP, but that kick would prove to be difficult. And here we go, round the outside and taking a bit of grass with him. That might affect his cornering grip on the entry, but other than that, that should sort itself out. But who was in front and who was behind at the DRS point, we'll find out in a few moments. And it's the Red Bull of Hash who's got to fight this back potentially into turn 4. No, not close enough. About 0.2 of a second. It has all calmed down there. But, of course, the kick Sauber making that as dramatic as possible. And round the outside on the grass into turn 1. Going through turns 6 and 7, we are currently looking at Matt Connor catch up to the back of Chucky, who, of course, was with us for a bit last season as well, but has become, I think he's a full-time driver here tonight. But, of course, do I remember things off the top of my head? Not very well, chat. I'm going to be real with you on that one. As, well, Matt Connor, I thought he would have DRS down the straight, but it evidently wasn't there at the detection point. But he's looking to make a move, and of course he's one of the last ones to pit compared to the rest in front. But of course we will see a second round of stops. So Matt Connor technically has gone from the overcut to an undercut advantage. I just don't see how any of the drivers in front can go to the end on their tyres, unless if I'm about to be proven wrong. We've got 23, I think actually 24 laps to go indeed. These two at the line will have 24 laps to go once they get to their respective points. And now DRS opening for Matt Connor for the first time. Needs to get this move done in these next 2 DRS zones to make sure he has the most amount of time available to him to chase the cars in front. He's going to gain big on the entry into turn 1. As we would expect, he'll have the better traction on the exit. And then through turn 2 and 3, he's not going to be close enough, so he'll have to wait again. But then again, I think he's just got more battery. And there we go to the inside. But between the straights of turn 3 and 4, that is all said and done. A great job there from Matt Connor, losing a minimum amount of time and maybe even gaining some time, in all honesty, as now Hash and MCL are also close to doing battle with one another. They are within 0.3 of a second, and if these two start battling, that brings Matt Connor into the picture more quickly. And Matt Connor, well, just needs to be careful with his tyre life now. Of course, most of the fuel has gone from the car, so the car is going to be getting lighter and faster as the race wears on to its conclusion. And the tyres will become a lot easier to manage as well, and he can use more of the tyre without having to lose too much wear, but at the same time, just got to be careful. And actually, Hash, I'm noticing, has got a front wing end plate missing on the left-hand side of his car. That is unfortunate, and I wonder where he's gained that. So he could have been gained from the battle with this kick Sauber. As JP now on for his final stop, and he's surely going on to the hard tyres for the final 23 laps. No, it's mediums. He's going on to mediums. He has probably seen the advantage from Matt Connor. And obviously a bit of a hold in the pit lane thanks to internet and synchronization issues. But otherwise, Matt Connor is your new leader of this Grand Prix and is now going to be under some serious pressure from JP, because he knows JP was the leader of this race before the Aston Martin made his stop. And this is surely going to go down to the wire towards the end of all of this. This will be one heck of an exciting Grand Prix, I can promise you that. As Dinosaur gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. He's up to 18 seconds and I have no grip. Is going to get ready to take another position. But now, if there was a safety car in these late stages of the race, this would flip and turn things upside down. And it would make things just that little more exciting. But at the moment, Matt Connor trying to catch up to Hash there as MCL back into second place. Got back past him, but now with JP on the attack behind on those fresh medium tyres. And JP make this work till the end of the race. What is the call here? And if a safety car comes in, well, it's going to be really unfortunate. You've got to remember, you've got to think about just think about everything. Of course, JP, not that much to lose, all things considered. Considering he came in from the leaders. There's a caution in Sector 1 for one of the McLarens. That is of Bruiser having a spin at turn 4. So nothing to see there. Please disperse. DRS opening for Hash yet again. Trying to stay with this kick Sauber here. But he's not going to be close enough to have a go, I would think. And now JP is going to go to the inside, down the start-finish straight. And that is him up and on those fresher tyres as well. That was always going to be a slam dunk move. And now Matt Connor is going to begin to feel some pressure. He's got no DRS either. And 5.8 seconds. That gap is evening out because of Hash using the DRS where he can. And Matt Connor knows now he's got the leader of this race behind. This is the battle for the lead. Or as of right now in this race, 22 laps to go. Can Matt Connor pull himself along with JP? Because surely JP can only wait for so long before he has to make a move. He has gotten 2 seconds in 2 laps, and now we are ready and waiting for a move from this Aston Martin. And surely now, here is the moment. JP is going to be on the run. We're going to go on board, and that is no fight at all from Matt Connor. I think he knows that maybe the win of this race was a bit beyond him, but now he can try and use DRS to keep up with the Aston Martin, and that, well, that wasn't thought too hard at all, as Dinosaur retires in the pit lane despite being guaranteed points wherever he finished. He just wasn't having fun and decided to call it a day. But JP now has taken the lead of the race and won't need to worry about any sort of intervention from that yellow flag, because the Haas driver retired in the pit lane. So that means Mr. Traps wins the battle of the teammates in round 1. And now DRS opening for the Red Bull as he goes into turn 1 behind MCL. JP with the fastest lap of the race. I'm surprised nobody came in to cover him off, especially Hash here. I'm really surprised Hash has gone out for as long as he has. He's still on old medium tyres as well. I'm surprised he's able to keep up, as now Dan Lovett is also overtaken because of him serving his final pit stop. After 36 lap old hards there? Was that somebody else? No, it was Shoei Rudberg on 36 lap old hard is still going. And they've been on since lap 1 of the race. And he's doing a magnificent job there. That is going to be incredible if he can make those work. But anyway, at the moment, Hash now is getting ready to try and make a move on MCL. But no dice there for the time being. And JP is getting ever closer at the back of your frame there. And, well, for Hash, I'm a bit... I don't know. I think that, you know, he qualified in second place. Has just not had the race come his way for a couple of reasons. And now, he's starting to look... Now it's all kind of starting to go away from him. He was on for a good result. As now caution in sector 3 for a slow-moving Alpine. That's I have no grip being lapped. And there we go. Hash was clearly listening to the commentary and has now come in for his final pit stop. And Matt Connor might be kicking himself a little bit because he would have wanted to have tried to hang on for that lead. Now, just to kind of keep an eye on the crossover points, there's caution in sector 2 for a spun round McLaren. That's Bruiser again, who gets back underway, so no intervention again required. What have I missed? Don't do it, Dave. That guy is race engineering MCL. Oh. Yeah. Darn it. I was asking you who he was. And you didn't tell me until now. Darn it. Well, now I know for future reference. But MCL's not winning this race. Let's just be honest here. What have I missed? Not a whole lot. It kind of calmed down once the first stint of pit stops had really gotten underway. There's been a few battles here and there, but they've all kind of quietened down. But these three are about to do battle again as Mr. Traps gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And now we are currently seeing these three about to do battle. Will anything happen here? Well, you're about to find out. I know for one thing's for certain. Hash here has fewer penalties, and he hasn't replaced that front wing either, so clearly feels comfortable to go to the end. But if he has a bit more contact with another car, and that other part of the... Fair enough, off to work now, though. Have a good stream. Have a very good shift at work. I know nights can be rough, so look after yourself and hope you have an easy shift. But also catching up to MCL Andy Price there. I now know who you are. You're not getting that again. And now Hash has actually just made his move as well. But now let's go back to JP for second place. Down the inside, of MCL goes JP. And that, in reality, I think is going to be the race win for JP, all but decided as Mr. Traps goes back through on Hash. And I'm surprised he didn't get that front wing replaced. I am very much shocked as now Harry has made his way through as the Red Bull sister teams go and do fight with one another yet again. And here we go. Will we see some drama between the sister teams? Of course, the Racing Bulls and the Red Bulls made contact earlier on in this race, and I think it was these two at the corner we just went by. And maybe it's going to happen again because Harry, there is more contact! There is more contact between the sister teams! And there we go, the polystyrene board of the Lenovo is crushed by the Red Bull of Hash. And Hash there won't be happy with that. But we continue racing, and now we are seeing something happen. We've waited laps for this as Hash gets a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. He was having a clean race up until that point. But it was always going to be difficult with that end plate going missing. And with 18 laps to go, Mikey Boy, a.k.a. McKellar, the F2 champion in NRRL, is now making his second and final stop. MCL and JP go through, obviously. And now, Matt Connor, is he catching that kick Sauber? He indeed is. 4.2 seconds now is the gap. But these three are the ones catching our attention as Mikey Boy is down to 5th. And let's see where he is at the exit. Yeah, no, he's got to be way in front of Den Bliss as now we're going to see more battling as Mr. Trap's in for a final stop, but a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane there. He should be comfortable to continue on to the end, but that means a bit of an advantage given to Harry in that battle between the two teams. Hash, though, will have the DRS going up the hill, and can he come back on the guy he made contact with just a lap ago? It looks not close enough to have a go in for, but will he be close? Will he try again and get the exit there as Sherry Rudberg's up into 10th? And here we go again. We're going to see it at the corner where they made contact last lap, and there's contact again between the two. And that is Harry pushed out. Ruined my race. Oh, I'm sorry, Traps. I am really sorry, Traps. But then here we go. Dan Lovett is also right on the back of this. From 9th place, and here we go. It's all kicked off again here in Bahrain, and we're starting to see some battles happen, but also happening is a battle here for 4th place on genuine pace alone, because both of these have post-race penalties, same amount of time, and Mikey Boy is through, but might have mistimed that overtake because the Red Bull will have the DRS, as there's nearly contact between Jockey and Mikey Boy. MCL into the pits, caution in Sector 1 for a slow-moving McLaren being lapped by an Aston Martin. That will be JP getting past, I think, either Matt Tudor or Bruiser. MCL, of course, as we just announced, into the pits for his second and final stop on lap 41, as Matt Connor now in genuine 2nd place. But can he stay there? That's another thing. But most drivers behind him have a penalty to come. So maybe not. So I think maybe Matt Connor is actually A-OK. But he'll be annoyed that that win will have just come from under him. Of course, he did try and do an excellent strategy considering where he was, as Harry has made a mistake there and has lost out on the battle to Hash. So that means Dan Lovett will take his place for the time being. As obviously Mr. Traps with a 10-second penalty. His race has been ruined in his own words. And well, he needs a safety car. He needs something from the racing gods to bring him right back into this, into his own little race. It looked like he was going to have an entertaining scrap with a couple of people, but it hasn't happened. Now, just to remind you, Matt Connor is on 15-lap-old hards, while JP is on 6-lap-old mediums. Will they get to the end comfortably, those mediums, or will the hards become the better tyre towards the end of the race? I'm not quite sure, but that is a lot to ask for the turnover between the hard to the mediums. But of course, Matt Connor on an alternative strategy, just trying something different due to his qualifying ban, but one to look out for, that is for certain. Mikey Boy with the fastest lap of the race, a 1:31.475. And I'm just beginning to think that Matt Connor might be off the podium towards the end of the race. Of course, if Mikey Boy does get past with the 16 laps to go, he does need that 3-second buffer over the Alpine, and that, I think, should be comfortably done, as now Dan Lovett has DRS on the Red Bull of Hash, and that is a slam dunk move. The current world champion, not really in that fight for the top as of right now. Of course, you might remember, cast your minds back to the Red Bull Ring, he was in a battle with JP, which lasted for an eternity. It would have felt like for Dan, but I think it was about 10 laps or so. But then by the time he was past, it was 7 to 8 seconds to the next car in front of him, and that was any sort of result gone for him in that race, or decent result, we should say. At the moment, he's not facing that kind of trouble. Unfortunately, most of his woes have come from the pace of drivers around him just being that little bit better. And even Hash there has not let the Williams go. He is still right there on his rear diffuser, as there's Den Bliss right in front of them. So maybe both Kick Saubers are going to be caught as well. This is not the kind of race MCL and Den Bliss were hoping for, as Den Bliss a winner from last week in Las Vegas. And it's just not that form just hasn't quite continued. He's still within the top 10 and he's still qualified 4th, so don't take anything away from him. But it isn't quite going to be perhaps the comeback in, well, perhaps the form into Season 2 he would have hoped for. But either way, it's still a decent showing from the Kick Sauber driver. Hash now is just approaching the DRS activation point. He's going to get ready to try and have a go on Dan Lovett as they start lap 43 out of 57. 15 laps to go, and Mikey Boy gets ever closer to Matt Connor as well, as the Red Bull gets ever closer to the Williams in front. And the Williams also catching up to the back of Den Bliss, but gets turn one all sorts of wrong. Can he at least get a better exit? He certainly does. I don't think he's actually going to be vulnerable to the Red Bull behind, you know. Not really, no. They're already approaching the braking point there into turn 4. And, oh, I couldn't really make the corner there. That could have been partially thanks to the dirty air. But now you look at that battle for second. And, well, look who's right there. Mikey Boy has caught up to Matt Connor and now would need a 3-second buffer. And it would be an Aston Martin 1-2. And what a way to begin the season that would be for these two, of course. JP, your regular commentator here in the Nitro Realistic Racing League, will take over on all the other days apart from Friday, which I will, of course, be commentating for hopefully a good portion of this season. And now, going down into the last corner, Mikey just not close enough to have a go. He'll have the DRS, though, as he comes through, and there we go. This will be a slam dunk move, I should say, as Mikey Boy makes his way through, and 10 seconds now separate him from his teammate. But he's really worried about the Alpine that's now behind him. He is going to try and get through, well, get that 3-second buffer, as there's a caution in Sector 1, short-lived. I think that is for somebody being lapped. That's I have no grip being lapped there, so the Alpine driver goes down a lap to the leader as Matt Connor has nothing to fight back with on Mikey Boy going up into turn 4. As Dan Lovett and Dan Bliss now doing battle, but Dan Bliss might be on the comeback as they go through turn number 1, now through turn 2. In actual fact, I think Dan's got that position, to be honest with you. I don't see the Kickstarter coming back from that far away, and he indeed does not. He actually, in fact, lifted and coasted going into the next turn, trying to save fuel. And at the moment, it's just starting to come to an end, this Grand Prix. So all the battles from the first stint have sort of faded out, and even Matt Connor is already at 2 seconds to Mikey Boy. But I think, oh well, no, we got to wait for MCL to really make his move as well, because MCL will be putting on pressure on Matt Connor towards the end of this as well. So while I appreciate what Matt Connor was trying to do, it's kind of left him in a bit of a bad position, because already with Mikey Boy getting to 2.2 seconds, that essentially means the medium tyres were the right way to go, and their strategies have worked a lot better. And MCL there looking to the inside into the last turn, but he'll have DRS, but so will the Red Bull. But here we go. Who is going to stay ahead? How hard is Chucky going to fight this? And in fact, he doesn't have DRS to the McLaren at all. My bad there. So that means I think MCL into 4th place, and now has an 11 seconds deficit to make up to Matt Connor in front, and Matt Connor not on the pace with the hard tyres, as old as they are already. They're not working for the Alpine, and that might mean that Matt Connor's podium is in trouble. Now, with 13 laps on the board, remember, he needs to find those 10.6 seconds, but also 3 seconds once he gets past. And that's what Mikey Boy has done already. But for MCL to get a podium, and well, Matt Connor's epic recovery drive will be slightly taken away from him. And that is a shame, all things considered, considering, you know, Matt Connor's really been patient, carved his way through the field. But also give credit to Mikey Boy as well, is another one who was just on pace, a class above the rest, but could not find his way past his teammate JP. And of course, that 3-second penalty won't have really helped his case if he was going to try and fight him with it. But already at 9.4 seconds, and maybe those medium tyres will be better. But at the moment, it will be 11 laps at the line, and MCL still has a 10-second deficit to make up to Matt Connor. So we'll see what happens, but we'll keep an eye on that. But Hash and Dan Bliss are about to do battle again. And of course, Hash qualifying, well, getting himself up to 2nd place in qualifying. He's not found it in the race. He is down to 8th as of right now. And, well, this is probably not how he hoped his evening was going to go. I'm surprised Matt Connor is up there as well. He's done very, very well. And now, here we go. Rear wings opening for the Red Bull of Hash. He's going to go round the outside of Dan Bliss, who tried to defend it into turn 1, but that was always going to be fruitless with a start-finish straight that long, and a DRS zone that is that long as well. You're not really going to hold on to the position. And now Hash is going to probably look towards the front. Dan Lovett on 1 lap older mediums, but I'm sure that crossover point has been reached as Harry and Mr. Traps have gone side by side, as Bruiser, I think, has made another mistake. Yeah, oh well, he's just slowing down to allow other cars through, so that's no drama there. But at the moment now, here we go again. Mr. Traps with DRS on Harry. This battle doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. Oh, but that was a very late dive there from the Haas driver. Made the apex regardless, and well, Harry did have to leave the room but lucky to get away without contact there was Mr. Traps and the Racing Bulls, and they will continue pointing in the right direction. And yeah, Harry Softs will have fallen off by now with 11 laps to go, and they're not going to go to the end comfortably. And actually, just keeping an eye on MCL as well, that gap down at 8.2 seconds. So he's on course at the moment, as there's another slow-moving vehicle. That's either Matt Tudor or Bruiser, just allowing the lap traffic of Mikey Boy through. And Mikey Boy is catching his teammate at about a second a lap. That's gone down to 8.9. Well, it's gone down to 9 seconds in reality. And now these final 11 laps might just go gentle into that good night. But MCL is going to be on a mission at the moment. He is really leaving it tight to try and get past Matt Connor and then make that 3-second buffer, which he needs to stay ahead at the end of this race. So MCL under serious pressure here. Can he make it work, or will he? Will he will he get no dice there? We'll wait and see, of course. But there's this battle happening right now between Harry and Mr. Traps. But Mr. Traps not finding a way through, and plus he has a 19-second penalty. It really doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. Mr. Traps kept fighting his way through again, but the Racing Bulls with that outside line somehow still has the advantage there, but there's going to be a bit of contact between the two on the exit here. Who gets cut off? Nobody, luckily, as the Racing Bulls there will hold on to 10th place there. A bit of a nice battle forming between these two. This is really good stuff. So far, so good. And at the moment, it has remained clean. And as of right now, Mr. Traps is just currently with DRS again in this next zone. Of course, remember, had a 10-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, which he was really annoyed about in the chat because it ruined his races, essentially. And, well, that's certainly clear from the penalty graphics you can see right in front of you. Mr. Traps with a promising debut here, but just certain little things need to be sorted out with track limit violation, with track limits, and also, of course, pit lane speeding. And, well, a bit of an update for you on another battle for third place. MCL is catching up to the back of Matt Connor still. 5.7 seconds between the Kick Sauber and the Alpine. And Matt Connor just trying his hardest to keep that Kick Sauber behind him. And we'll soon see how that all plays out. But there is 10 laps to go. 5.3 seconds, but a 3-second penalty for track limit violations added on to MCL's post-race time. It's very tense there for the Kick Sauber. But also this battle, beg your pardon, all the battles that were happening earlier on have kind of all calmed down, and we're just kind of having to pick and choose where to look at on track. But either way, I think one thing we need to point out is that the fact that Mikey Boy and Matt Connor have really done a fantastic job to climb their way up the field and have really tried as hard as they can to really get where they are right now. So despite the qualifying ban they both faced, absolutely exceptional work from the both of them. And Hash here, who had a great qualifying but just hasn't had a great race, is now just trying to get onto the back of Dan Lovett. Of course, Dan Lovett being the current world champion here in NRRL Friday divisions. Not really able to catch up to, well, Hash not being able to catch up to even the likes of him. But I'm really, really surprised at some of the performances of the drivers here. And obviously some expectations. Mr. Traps here probably with more to give as well going forward. But he's had a decent race there. Qualified 10th place, now looking at 11th place. But of course, a 19-second post-race penalty coming his way. I have no grip though, with a terrible start there. Pole position for him, dropping all the way down to 12th place. I just don't know how he lost it all. I just wonder what causes that little inconsistency for him. So, it's I don't know. Very interesting that. It's certainly something he's going to have to look at going into future rounds this season. At the moment, he is on for what would be 4 points towards his total, but really needs to find something in the next few rounds if he is looking to stay up in that pole position, in the fight for the lead, I should say. At the moment, Mr. Trap still not being able to find a way past Harry. Not that it really matters, in all honesty, with his massive penalty. Even if he does get past, needs to find 19 seconds. He's not going to find that in the next few laps, I would imagine, even with the softs where they are. He needs to hope that Harry has one last pit stop he needs to make, and if those softs wear out faster than Harry expected. Now, one battle to look at here, which is for genuine place, is MCL catching up to the back of Matt Connor. 3.3 seconds. But even if MCL makes the move, he needs a 3-second buffer on the Alpine in front to try and make sure that podium is safe. And MCL needs to keep it between the white lines as well. It is, well, he's done well to get within 2.7 seconds with a handful of laps to go. It will be about 7 laps to go at the line. But MCL needs to then catch the car and then get past it. Of course, dirty air will become a big influence, and those medium tyres will begin to overheat and suffer, as there will be no aerodynamic performance in that kick salvo. And it's got a very limited amount of performance already, especially on this realistic performance. At least I think, do we run realistic performance on Fridays? I think we do, but I should probably have checked that earlier on before I started. But never mind. We'll just keep checking. Oh, I did actually get a couple of messages here. Maybe some insight for you. No, not at all. But anyway. Currently, it is, well, just in... just to let you know, Dan Lovett is the only one in the race day voice chat there. So, obviously, a lot of the guys that were in there have now left, such as Maldron, Paulcott, Rendog, and Dinosaur, as Dan Bliss is on for a very late pit stop here. He's down to 9th place. What about Sherry Rudberg there, up into 8th place on 13-lap medium tyres? Of course, went very, very long on a set of hards. And, well, that pace isn't quite coming to him. Can he catch up to Hash there and get within his 3-second window? He's got 7 seconds to do so, and 7 laps will be a bit unlikely. But, of course, more unlikely things have happened, and now MCL has caught up to the Alpine. Has got a bit of time on his side, actually, so needs to make this move done. Get this move done even sooner rather than later. But at the moment, nothing happening here. In terms of overtakes, well, Mr. Traps and Harry were the closest battles on track, but Mr. Traps being unable to make a move after several laps. It's just not quite. Well, I don't think he's even bothered about overtaking Harry. I think he knows how big his penalty is post-race, and Harry has just got absolutely nothing at all. Both Racing Bulls drivers at the moment will take away a total of 15 points towards the constructor. But still, I think Sherry would have probably wanted to have been a bit higher up, but I don't think he'll be too disappointed. And same with Harry as well. We'll just see how they qualified. And both of them... Well, Harry is where he qualified, but Sherry is down by 2 positions. So, actually, maybe a bit of work for Sherry to do. As we come to a close now, 6 laps to go, and MCL hasn't quite got within that DRS range of the Alpine in front. Have those medium tyres pass their best, and with about 11 laps, and, well, 15 laps to the hards as well, in terms of tyre life, have those tyres just fallen off, and is there anything left to give? Gonna find out. Dan Lovett, by the way, did make his way past Chucky. I unfortunately didn't quite catch that one. My apologies, but that's him through. And now Hash, his teammate, is about to do the same. Traps also finally makes his move, but the Racing Bulls comes right back on the outside, comes right back at the Haas driver, and there's a bit of contact between the two. More contact, and they're going to go through here. And luckily, it is all clean and fair for the time being, but Mr. Traps with another penalty to his name. And that could have been cause for a safety car now. And as we reach the closing stages of this race, remember, within 3 laps to go, so 4 at the line, we will not see a safety car for the rest of the race. So that is something to keep in mind. With 4 laps to go, we are 1 lap away. No, sorry, 5 laps to go, beg your pardon. We have 5 laps to go. We are 2 laps away from not seeing the safety car for the rest of the race. And if a safety car was to happen, what heartbreak it would be. And now Matt Connor needs to defend this if he possibly can. He's going to be very difficult, but considering the life of his tyres as MCL goes through, but now needs a 3-second buffer. And Matt Connor is going to try and fight this back through turn 4. Has he made that outside work? No, he has not. He has not got the tyres to fight the kick Sauber, and that is MCL through to third, but now needs to find another 2.5 seconds in the next 5 laps, and Matt Connor will be hoping to just stay within DRS and try and stick with him for as long as he possibly can. He'll have DRS going through turn 10 even, beg your pardon, and we'll see what Matt Connor can do with the laps remaining. Has he saved up enough battery to keep up with this kick Sauber down the straight line? It looks like he has. He gained about 2 tenths there, but that cornering grip is just absolutely gone there. Actually, saying that, Matt Connor did actually gain a tenth or 2 there, so MCL is not going to have this handed to him on a plate. And even JP's teammate is starting to catch up to him, but of course not enough time to make a move and get that 3-second window. Mikey Boy would need, or Michele would need, to have him make a mistake, as we have a yellow flag for the slowed down McLaren, who of course is allowing these two through, not interrupting their battle too much. Rather generous of the McLaren, considering he was ghosted for a brief moment there. Now Matt Connor hasn't allowed Matt Connor to get away, so he needs a second lap, but sorry, MCL needs a second lap at this current moment, but it's just not happening. And by the way, Hash also making a move on Chucky there. We missed that one as well. Do apologise. But there you go. Chucky losing both positions to Dan and Hash. That's all said and done. But anyway, Matt Connor still within that 1 second range of the kick Sauber. So MCL all of a sudden is starting to feel the effects of not having the tyres go his way. And unfortunately, he's used most of them trying to catch up to the Alpine, and the Alpine has stayed right with him for the time being. But there we go, for the first time Matt Connor does get outside that 1 second bubble. But does Matt Connor have anything to come back with? And at this current moment in time, it doesn't seem to be that way. Gap remains at just over a second, as Hash is also catching up to Dan Lovett at the back, so at least we will see a battle there. But let's actually cut to it as we speak. I don't want to miss another overtake here from one of these two, as Hash looks to be on the better tyre. Of course, both Dan and Hash have damaged to their front wing end plates. I think it's on the same side. It indeed is, so it looks like what a fastest lap indeed, as Mr. Trap seems to be paying more attention to the stream rather than paying attention to where he's going on track there. Hopefully that doesn't land him in any trouble, but either way, Mr. Trap's also getting onto the back of Harry, but it doesn't matter because of the fact he will lose then the position to Den Bliss towards the end of this race. But now 3 laps to go, and Hash is about to try and make a move on Dan Lovett going into this turn. Not close enough to do so, but let's highlight what a drive it has been from both, as Matt Connor with a 3-second penalty, and that will mean he has lost this podium, and that is through all of his own fault. No one to blame there, not even MCL. That was just, unfortunately, track limit violations from the Alpine driver. But now, that means we turn our attention to this battle. So MCL, a guaranteed podium. And Hash now in a battle for 5th place, and this is really taking our attention. And JP has been faultless all race, to be honest with you. Has been scrappy, but very fair indeed in his battling. And while his teammate is approaching, and it looks like the Aston Martins are going to be ones to look out for in the in the Constructors' Championship based on this first race. I actually said that Astons would be on an outside chance, but it turns out Michele, going from his F2 Championship win, is now looking at a 2nd place here. That is oh so deserved after a qualifying ban. What a drive it has been from Mikey Boy, as Mr. Traps and Harry do indeed swap places, but it doesn't matter, that battle. Den Bliss through as well, and that was as expected. As there we go. Well, let's just see what's going on anyway, just before we see that battle turn out. Oh, goodness me. That was a bit closer than I would have liked, as there we go, Mr. Traps does get another penalty. But now we're going to see a battle between Hash and Dan Lovett yet again. Luckily, we didn't miss anything there, as Sherry Rudberg gets past Chucky as well. Goodness me. Sherry Rudberg there. Also getting past the Red Bull driver. And here we go, Hash here. Is he going to try and move up the hill into turn 4 as Mr. Traps into the pits? Oh, and there was Hash there, just locking up with his front left tyre, beg your pardon, going into the corner, but still meets the apex. So no harm, no foul, but 2 laps to go. Time is running out for the Red Bull driver. He goes to the inside of turn number 8 there. Contact between the two as the carbon fibre goes flying, and they continue to have a bit of afters on the exit. Who has DRS as they have to give the room? The Red Bull gives the Williams there, and there's a bit more contact on the exit. Who has DRS? That goes to Dan Lovett for now, but the Red Bull and the Williams giving us something to talk about as JP has begun his final lap, and now a side-by-side action between those two. And now JP, well, being caught by his teammate, but it'll matter very little as now Mikey Boy has another penalty to serve. And now, well, we'll have to cut away from that. Of course, we will talk about JP in just a second. What a perfect drive it has been from him. Started in 3rd place and made it work from the get-go. What a drive it has been from JP, of course. It's now Dan Lovett all the way to the inside. It looked like he was going to go into the pits there. But final lap between these two. And this is the battle that's taken our attention. No battery at all for the Red Bull as he approaches into turn 1. We'll get some of it back on recharge. But now, can Hash make this work? Going up the hill, well, he's going to have to just get close to try and set up an overtake into the next DRS zone, which is, of course, the 3rd one. Coming up in a few corners' time. Mikey Boy is getting dangerously close to JP as well. Not that it matters, considering the penalties he has to serve at the end of this. Although I do think it went up to 6 seconds very recently. And again, and there's more contact. And another red plate goes from the Red Bull. Oh, goodness me. We'll cut to JP in just a few moments. He'll take the win. But the Red Bull really getting extreme here. And oh my goodness me, as JP wins it in Bahrain. Mikey Boy comes 2nd place, but these two have caught our attention. The fierce battling from Hash, but he just got another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. And guess who's within the penalty range now? That goes to Rudberg, and Dan Lovett is going to continue fighting as the top 3 are now across the line. But Dan Lovett and Hash having one heck of a battle to end this 57-lap race. They're going to continue going side by side. Yeah, but the Red Bull gives up in the end, and Rudberg, I think, has gotten into the penalty range of both cars. Oh my goodness me, Rudberg is gonna be in 5th position at the end of this race. Unbelievable stuff. Rudberg with a great drive in the end, keeping it between the white lines, and that is worthy of Driver of the Day material. Of course, as Chucky comes home 8th, Dembliss 9th, and in the end, it is gonna be Harry that comes home in 10th. I have no grip in the end. Got 11th place as well after qualifying on pole position. But JP, take a bow. Because that was some good stuff there. What a mature drive from your usual Nitro Realistic Racing League commentator. The podium celebrations begin. Dan Lovett, not happy with Hash at all. And an Aston Martin 1-2. Meldrum, by the way, had his pedals given. He was on controller. Dembliss also not happy at all with his first race back in the Kick Sauber. As Traps apologising for the nudge. He's saying it was a fun little battle. As there we go, the podium celebrations conclude. Race winner was, of course, JP. Fastest lap going to Dembliss. Driver of the day, Mikey Boy. I don't blame the game for doing that, as most overtakes goes to Matt Connor. Clearest driver, JP. Your top 3, JP, Mikey Boy, Michaela, and MCL, with Matt Connor and Sherry Rudberg rounding out your top 5 respectively. 6th to 10th was Dan, Hash, Chucky, Harry, and Dembliss, with 11th to 15th being I Have No Grip, Traps, Matt Tudor, Bruiser, and Dinosaur. And of course, your non-finishers include that Hash driver, including Rendog and Paul Codd, with your only disqualification coming from Meldrum. Well, we're going to have an interview, podium interview. We do a top three, and then we will depart our separate ways. And of course, I imagine we are all going to watch the sprint qualifying in Austin, Texas, in the real life Formula One. But for tonight, let's celebrate the victors in this virtual win. And well, in this virtual race, beg your pardon. And let's give a real bow to JP. Let's give a bow to Mikey Boy and Matt Connor as well, carving their way through the field. And what a race that was, as MCL in the end did convert to a podium after some cheeky chat messages from his race engineer. Thank you very much for that. So I will now know that for future. But yes, everybody's saying GG's, and hopefully we'll have a podium interview in just a few moments' time. Interviews from JP. I go, yes, please. As somebody has gone, no, they're reacted by Harry. There we go, everybody making their way in. Well, JP did make his way in for a brief moment and then decided to leave. Now he is with us. So we'll just kind of take a moment to analyze that. Let's just, of course, go into the calendar. Just to remind you, we've just had round one completed. We'll be off to the Temple of Speed. That's always a good one there. But with the pit strategy as well, we're probably going to be looking at a one stop in that race. And we're off to Silverstone, followed by Monaco. That will be one. That'll be one to look out for. As I need to also respond to this guy. Hang on. Because we've got JP in at the moment, but otherwise we'll then be off to Barcelona the week after that. Then it's Saudi Arabia, Azerbaijan, Japan, and Hungary. We're followed by Abu Dhabi. So, at the moment, we are just waiting for everybody just to make their way in. JP's already with us. Hang on. Yeah, so McKellar is just trying to figure out where he needs to go at the moment. And there we go, McKellar is in. And we'll just wait and see. And there we go, MCL is so everybody's here. Let's get interviews underway. And let's begin with our winner. Well, JP, congratulations. That was an incredible drive. That was an electric start from P3 to P1. And then it was just a mature drive from you for the rest of the way. JP, what a difference a week makes there. Was a bit scrappy and bit of contact, but that was one of your cleanest races.
Thank you, my friend. I'm more astonished than anything. That's the first 100% race I've ever won. The final stint, trying to keep the gap to Mikey, I think that's the most stressful thing I have ever done in my entire life. There was one corner, I need to speak to Mikey after this race. There was one corner in the first sector, he would gain like half a second on me. And I don't know if there's just a glitch that I could exploit or what it was, but oh man, I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
And what was the strategy kind of going into the race there? Because obviously some people were kind of gone 2 or 3 stops, some starting with the soft tyres and then some onto the medium tyres as well. It was a whole mixed bag. So was it a 2-stop or a 3-stop from the get-go? And of course, we didn't have any safety cars either.
Well, I was told just through the strategy screen it was going to be a 2-stop, so I trusted that. It said to go soft, medium, hard. But sort of as the stints went on and I kind of extended a bit in the middle, I thought I could probably take the mediums. I was also talking to Harry, who'd gone, I think, 23 laps on a set of mediums. So I trusted that I could do it too. It was difficult because obviously with no safety cars, you don't really get that break to think about strategy or anything that you can really do. And especially at the end, I started running out of fuel with about 4 laps to go. So I had to start doing the old Ferrari Lyco, which was not fun. But strategy, I guess, was relatively simple because obviously there was no safety cars.
And of course, just akinning back to something you said last season when you took the win, you said, I feel like I'm on for the championship fight, and your confidence must have just been boosted after that.
Yeah, I mean, like I say, it's my first 100% race win. I didn't know that I could do that. So now knowing that it is possible, I can win these races, I can be up there as long as I can do my best to keep it clean. So, I mean, it's only round one, but leading the championship, very happy. So, we'll see where we can take it in the coming weeks, and we'll start thinking about the championship at the back end of the season.
Just one last question before I let you go. Of course, next week we're off to Monza. And how is that a track? How is that for you? But also, what about the rest of the calendar? Is this looking like a strong one for you?
Well, to be honest, I don't know now because Bahrain, I've always said, is one of my really weak circuits. So the fact I've now come here and won kind of throws everything a bit askew. But I mean, Monza, I don't mind it. It's a decent track. It's a very simple track. It's just straights and corners, really. So hopefully can do well there. In terms of the whole calendar, a few people have said to me when looking at the calendar that it is kind of very me orientated. I do like tracks like Suzuka, Hungary, Abu Dhabi, Monaco. So I think there's a few ones in there that probably could trouble me. But I mean, I came here tonight thinking I was going to be troubled, and I've walked away with a win somehow. So I'm confident going to anywhere we want to go to.
JP, very confident words from you. Maybe this isn't going to be the last time we see you. Congratulations again on your win. See you next week.
Thank you very much, my friend.
Bye for now. Alrighty, and then moving on to second place, teammate to JP, but with time added on, was not able to take away the win from his teammate. Mikey or McKellar, congratulations on second place regardless. You had to carve your way through the field after a qualifying ban, but you've got to be very, very happy with that performance.
Yeah, I mean, I was not expecting to be up to P11 after lap one. I think that really benefited me. But yeah, the car felt great, to be fair. I was a bit worried about the Aston Martin because I've not done much practice in it. But yeah, very happy with P2. Frustrated with the penalties. I got 4 warnings in 2 laps on fresh hards. So just need to improve on the cold tyre aspect. But yeah, very happy with P2. And it's a good start for Aston Martin with a 1-2.
Absolutely, of course. Your constructors' championship reign is starting off on the best possible foot. Of course, you are already a champion here in NRRL. You took the F2 championship. I think it was about a couple of weeks ago there. Could you be looking to bring the fight to this season? Is that your plan for this league?
100%. The aim for me is to win this division. It's probably my weakest point now in terms of racing is the longer distance. So starting last, I had no expectations, so I was quite happy going into this race because Bahrain's not a strong circuit for me either. So I think going in with no expectations probably relaxed me a little bit, but getting P2 will fill me with confidence now for the rest of the season. Not a fan of Monza. I don't do well around there, so looking forward to Silverstone and then Monaco. I really enjoy as well. So I'm hoping to fight for the title, but it's race one. We've got to wait and see how the next few races go first. JP looked rapid today, so it's definitely one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on.
And, well, just kind of one last question for you just before I let you go. Just thinking about, like, you know, everything there, of course, of just going back to that point of U7, the qualifying ban. If it wasn't for the qualifying ban, do you feel like you would have had that win?
Yeah, I when I was doing practice runs, I did a practice session which is usually typically slower than qualifying. I set a 28.8, and pole position tonight was a 28.7. So I feel like I would have definitely been up the front. But by lap 6 or 7, I was literally within 2 seconds of the lead. So if there's ever a time where I say starting last didn't cost me the win, it's probably now because I was up the front pretty quick. So. No, to be fair, I think JP just had the pace tonight, and Harry did as well. Unfortunately, he had the disconnection, so I was quite lucky with that. But I think a podium was definitely there for the taking. But like I say, Bahrain's not my strongest track, so certainly happy with that.
As you should be. Well, Mikey, we'll see how the next few weeks go for you, but congratulations on second place tonight, and we'll see where you are in a few weeks' time.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Moving on to third place, MCL. Congratulations on third place there. Might not have been the race you initially would have wanted there, but otherwise, how are you feeling about the podium?
I'm pretty delighted about it, to be fair. That Sauber is, I reckon, about 5/10 slower per lap than those Astons. So I had to give everything every single lap. And fair plays to Matt Connor. He was on a one-stop strategy, and he threw a right spanner in the works with that, and he was tough. So fair plays to him.
And of course, you had two drivers cut through the field there. Of course, Matt Connor being one of them, and of course, Mikey being the other. Just of course, your race engineer cheekily popped into chat and just asked for tire life on the drivers around you. Of course, what was the strategy going in, and did it change at any point between you and your race engineer?
No, it was always going to be two-stop for me. There was just no pace. I couldn't keep up with those Astons whatsoever. Fair plays to JP and Mike. They had a tough battle towards the end. But we done some testing earlier, and I was probably 5/10 slower.
And obviously, just going forward into next week, we're off to Monza. How do you feel about that track?
Yeah, the track's all right for me. I need to find some extra pace from somewhere. Another 5/10, I think.
Well, just to kind of give you a little bit of a stat from you last season, when you joined from round 6 of season 1, you had 2 podiums and 1 win. So your streak of top 3 continues for 4 races in a row. And if there's anything to go out on that, I think it's that. Congratulations on yet another podium in 4 races.
Cheers, Dave. Great commentary. Take it easy.
Thank you. Bye-bye. All right, guys. Well, that was a 100% race in Bahrain, but there are more to come, as you can see on the calendar on your screen, so I won't sound like a broken record. But otherwise, from everybody that has watched, I was just interested. The commentary is outstanding, sir. Andy Price trying to butter me up a little bit, clearly. Thank you very much, though, for the compliments, in all seriousness. And, of course, thank you for the compliments from MCL and everybody who drops in to say hello. Thank you to all of you. And of course, I do want to say a huge thank you to the admins, the stewards, for putting on this every week and putting in the work that they do. A lot of hard work does go in behind the scenes here at the Nitro Realistic Racing League, as does with every other league as well. But otherwise, from myself and everybody here at Nitro Realistic Racing League, we all thank you for watching and we wish you a very good night. We also hope you enjoy the COTA Grand Prix, or Circuit of the Americas. I think I like to call it the Texas Grand Prix just because that's the state it takes part in. But obviously, sprint qualifying is starting in 15 minutes, so I will not delay anything much longer. Thank you all for watching, and from wherever you may be in the world, we do wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive. JP will be back with you throughout the rest of the other divisions, but I will be back with you on this channel on Friday. Don't go anywhere. You'd more action to come from this league. Bye for now.